The following may contain language which will be offensive to some people and inappropriate for children. The topics discussed may include drugs, alcohol, or be sexual in nature. This show is intended for mature audiences. Listener discretion is advised. I'm serious. It's dirty. Really, really dirty. Still here? Then pour your favorite beverage, sit back, and let's get this fucking show started.
Fantastic forum. Assemble. Oh, I have to get used to the short intro. I'm sorry. You're listening to Fantastic Forum, the premier show about comic books, and your weekly live conversation about geek culture and the entertainment industry. Welcome to Fantastic Forum. Hope you're having a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, or night, as the case may be, depending on where you are in the world. And if you're not, you should stick with us. We'll be taking it up a notch. Yeah, the usual suspects in the building. First, he is our riddle inside of an enigma, trapped in Chinese finger cuffs. You don't know him. You love him anyway. He's our silent assassin, Jay.
Hey, what's up?
Next, he's the backbone, the pillar, the strength of Fantastic Forum, our nigh invulnerable brawler and resident strongman, Moses Magnum.
What's up?
Next, back from sabbatical, our intrepid senior reporter, next in line for the cowl. He's our resident Dark Knight detective. It's Oz. Oh, you're muted.
I hit the button.
You're muted. No, you ruined. Look, there it is. Too many Mojo Jojos.
Not enough.
Not enough Mojo Jojos. My name is Lawrence Young. Welcome to Fantastic Forum. They do call me Mary Young. You see it. You see it. We got a great show for you today because, we're going to be talking about all types of stuff. We are going to be bringing you the latest in comic book news. We got Moses Magnum Heavy Metal Minute. We also have reviews of The One You Feed, of Crossover, and of Transformers My Little Pony Friendship in Disguise. So we got all that coming for you. And of course, whatever else it is that you all want to talk about. But before we do all that, we want to make sure that we thank Mr. Scott Rubin, who without this show, without him, the show wouldn't be possible. It wouldn't be happening. So thanks, Scott. Appreciate you, buddy. So yeah, if you want to get down with Fantastic Forum, here's how you do it.
Want to get in on the action? Call Fantastic Forum on Skype and join the fun. Too shy to call in? That's okay. You can join the Discord chat room available at
FantasticForum.live.
Join the party. You know you want to.
Sexy, sexy. Yeah. All right.
You said we didn't have time for that, Larry.
Type 2. So, yeah. So, like I said, great show. I do want to encourage all of you, if you're watching, and if the link to jump into the show to join in as the next member, as the 5th member right now of Fantastic Forum, if it's not there and not evident to you, and you're like, hey, how do I get down with this? Can they go to fantasticforum.live, Moses?
Yep.
Will that work? All right, fantasticforum.live. If you're like, hey, I don't know how to get in on the show that you're talking about, this link or whatever, it's go to, huh?
I should have told you to put that scroll to start. Just call in fantasticforum.live. There's a button that says call in, and you just hit that. It'll put you in the queue.
Oh, Oz went to go do it. Oz was like,
Testing.
Oh, what? There's a button? I was like, Oz, you're already a part of the show, Oz. You didn't have to call in. You don't have to push that button, Oz. You were here.
4th and 5th member.
Oz, that sounded like Oz. He's greedy like that. He's like, oh, how many members can I be? So but yeah. So right now, coveted spot, 4th member of Fantastic Forum. You could be that right now because Oz's internet crapped out or something. Who knows? Anyway, so yeah, I mean, we should go ahead and get into it. So let's jump into some news.
Yes. We should have a like her not like that, but like type 2.
We gotta put that in the next like iteration of the news music, like that noise that Moses has made as the segue. That needs to be in the next news music iteration. We're like, nah. I was like, what? Like, why did Moses act like
I was gonna jump into the news story without playing the music, and then I caught myself and said, no.
Oh man, that is too funny, man. That is too funny. I'm not mad at it. All right.
I was excited about this news story because it's 2020, the year of Snyder, and
please don't say that. Like it fits is. Because it is this It is pretty terrible.
It is. like if Zack Snyder made a year, it would be 2020. Like, that's just what it is. And
got it.
Yeah, he released the trailer for the Snyder cut of the Justice League back in August, and now they pulled the trailer because they didn't secure the music rights to Leonard Cohen's Hallelujah, and so that was an issue. And he's also teasing Martian Manhunter on Vivo, which I think the only reason you have Vivo is to look at his updates now. At this
Vivo.
Point. Yeah, that was the company that was trying to take over Instagram's market because
it's not Vivo, is it?
Vivo? Oh, Vero.
Okay, I was about to say like Vivo is a thing too.
Yeah, Vivo is a music channel.
Vivo, right? Vivo is not like a thing that's not that popular with people either, but much more popular than Vero. Yeah. Like I feel like Vivo people might be like, oh yeah, I've heard of that. Vero, they're like, I don't know what you're talking about. Oh man, hold on. We do have a caller. Caller, tell the people who you are, where you're calling from, and what you want to talk about.
Hello.
Hello, Raymond.
Friend of Larry. You always
What up, Ray? Good to see you, man. Welcome to Fantastic Forum. You are officially the 5th member of Fantastic Forum right now, which is crazy because I've known Raymond friggin' a ridiculous number of years since high school.
Since freshman year, yes.
And wait, and here's the kicker though. Raymond is one of the biggest geeks I know. Huge comic book nerd, huge anime and manga fan. I'm pretty sure this is Raymond's first time on Fantastic Forum, right?
I've been in chat before, but not on video.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I'm just talking about, I don't know if the people even have ever heard your voice. You have been in chat, though. I'll give you that. Chat works. Chat does count. But welcome to Fantastic Forum, Raymond. You're about to make me drop a tear. I'm like, oh my God, Raymond's here.
I thought you were going to say he just found out you do a podcast about comics.
Oh, no. Raymond has known since the inception and has not deemed the show worthy of his attention until pandemic happened. He's like, I guess I can't go outside, goddamn.
I can catch up.
Larry never made it sound great.
Oh, damn! See, look,
that's believable.
The running joke, there it is. It's like I explained it wrong. I explained my own goddamn show wrong. Okay, got it. I'll take that. So welcome, Raymond. What is your thoughts on Zack Snyder, like just in general? Damn it! Let's go.
Yeah, I heard that news too. That he's trying to sneak in Martian Manhunter now.
Yeah,
I guess it's because they gave him the go ahead to do the Part 2 miniseries, so he's trying to expand now. I'm supposing it's just weird that they're trying so hard to salvage this.
It's insane. Like it is true what you just said, Moses, about Zach's or 2020 being the year of Snyder, because
Snyder, yeah.
This is the kind, like, it feels like this is the kind of thing that any other time this would just be a bad idea and people would recognize it and they'd be like, why would we throw good money behind bad money to do this? But in 2020, this is the idea that makes sense, and people can launch a campaign in order to bring back a cut of a movie that did not exist.
It's Sonic the Hedgehog all over again.
No, Sonic the Hedgehog was a good thing, though.
Yeah, that was.
But
The thing is, if it wasn't for this global health crisis and pandemic, this wouldn't be happening.
you don't think so?
I don't think so. I think, just the news and the debate around it and all these things that they just keep releasing every few weeks is to keep people going and keep these people that otherwise would be like, my body, my choice. I don't need to wear a mask. Now they're talking about Snyder instead of just, they're trying to silence me with the mask,
Well, I totally agree with that, because it seems like they wanted something to release because they couldn't release anything in theaters anymore. They're like, oh, we can do this straight to HBO now and it'll make us money.
Yeah. And the thing is, it'll bring in subscribers, and they have to pay to get it done, but they already paid to get a bunch of stuff done that Warner paid before the AT&T thing. So now AT&T so far AT&T has only spent what it costs to buy the property, the studio, and then what it costs to make Snyder Cut. And that thing will it's going to make them a ton of money.
Well, I mean, but what factors into the price to make the Snyder Cut is literally, though, like reshoots with a whole bunch of actors, right?
But
and then whatever Zack Snyder's fee is, right?
Yeah. And what's the tally at now? What, like $40 million or fucking $50 million?
I don't even know.
Actually, there might not even be a Zack Snyder fee, because technically he'd still be under contract. He was never released, so he might have already just been paid still anyway. So still really cheap.
So that would make a lot more sense.
They did have one with like a 4 or 5 movie deal, and only Justice League, Batman, and came out. So that's only 2 movies.
Yeah. So they're actually just honoring a contract so that they don't get sued, and they're just putting in what the 50. Even if it's 50 million is still what 1/5 of what Superman Returns was, and it's going to give a lot more money. Whether it's, there's no word of mouth there being like, oh, we're not like, I'm not going to go see this weekend. They don't have to worry about the ticket sales of next weekend. I don't know.
Who's trying to communicate with alien life like that? It sounds like it's Moses doing your fapping noise, but I can see you, so I know you're not doing that. Look, I'm not mad at this, because I feel like if I feel very comfortable when Fantastic Forum is like mad buggy, like that makes me feel like we're right at home again. Like it's like, okay.
But this just feels like an insectility, like trying to. Yeah. Hey, is it on? No. I muted my mic and nothing. That might.
I don't know. It might have been Oz. Maybe that's why he keeps jumping off. He's like, oh no, the insect's fapping.
What? That's odd.
Okay, no.
Hey,
I'm sure he'll figure it out and he'll come back.
They're gonna make a bunch of money. It's all profit. It's a 50 million, which is, in the grand scheme of things, they could be greenlighting a bunch of other movies that may or may not do well and spent 10 times as much. Right.
Yeah, that's true. So what else is happening in the news?
I heard Jonathan. Oh, good.
Cree Summer has confirmed that Elmira will not be in the Tiny Toons remake.
What?
Reboot.
Why no Elmira?
They're thinking she's just too problematic.
Why?
What was problematic about Elmira?
The skull bow?
the animal abuse, and yeah, it's I don't know. Like I don't see anything wrong with her, but I think the animal abuse and stuff. Like people aren't as cool with that anymore.
I mean, but they know they're not real animals, right?
I'm not sure.
He's like,
And
they
then
might
they moved away from that near the end. Like when it was Pinky Elmira in the brain, they pretty much had stopped with the animal abuse. She was just an idiot.
Yeah, she was second Pinky.
Wait, I don't even remember that. There was like was it like a thing where the Elmira was only featured with Pinky in the Brain, and that was the only time he was.
Yeah,
there?
the Pinky in the Brain show became Pinky Elmira in the Brain.
Oh damn, I don't even remember that. What'd you say, Jay?
It was its own spinoff.
Yeah,
Really?
It was pretty terrible. Like people don't really talk about it that much.
well, it wasn't
I
long
think-
either, right? It was only a few, like just a short time.
It was
Yeah.
like a season, I think. It was like the last season
Yeah.
before it canceled.
That must have been like late '90s, right?
Yeah, like 90s.
Okay. Yeah,
Um,
I was in college. I probably wasn't paying attention to it.
Yeah, you're too busy getting laid.
Psh, I wish. I wish that was the
They were
reason.
too busy
Like,
drinking.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. I didn't drink in college at all. Look, which is crazy. I'm sure that's crazy for some people to hear that know me, but it's true.
Next, you're gonna say you never beat off.
That's what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna say that. Oh Lord, man. But yeah, no, I did not know that that was a thing. I personally would think that Amira should be a part of Tiny Toons. Like I feel like she's like a substantial enough part that, and don't get me wrong, it's not like she has to be like in every episode or anything, but periodically. I'm sure just because Amira's not there doesn't mean that Cree Summers isn't a part of it, though, right?
I don't think she is.
Wow. Well, I'm just saying, Cree Summers is such a talent. I don't know why you would not use her if she's available.
Right.
It's like, who are you using instead? And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying she needs to have all the jobs, because I'm sure there's a voice actor or actress out there saying, why is Cree Summers get all the jobs? And it's like, well, she's damn good. That's why.
Although with COVID, they could get, they can get Robert De Niro and do his voice all high pitch. They can get Nicole Kidman and do her voice all high pitch. Like Justin Timberlake, like all these people aren't working. And
You're right. You're right.
And names you can attach to shit. Yeah,
that is true.
like,
They're like, whatever paycheck you want to give me, I'll take it.
Yeah, they're not doing anything. And
could you imagine Robert De Niro as an animated voice? Like that would be wild.
Not
Yeah.
that wild.
I wish
no.
He was in Shark Tale, wasn't he?
I just saw I was looking
think
through
you're right.
stuff he did recently, and there was I don't remember what it was, but it was something like the most un-Robert De Niro thing you would.
Rocky and Bullwinkle.
Yes.
Yeah, that was when he started going a little. Well, I thought he was going to start going downhill, but he still did some good stuff after, even though it wasn't like what he's known for, But I wish I would have pre-produced that news story about Robert De Niro being in cartoons, and I could have done an impression with some, like him in the sound booth.
Listen,
something.
Just go ahead and. Oh no! It got me. Oh no! I'm dead. I'm dead already.
That's for saying you didn't drink in college.
Yeah,
it's true.
So real quick, Tiger Claw says you guys are going to play Spider-Man Miles Morales. It's coming out on the PS4 tomorrow as well as on the PS5. Fuck no.
Damn. Why like that, Jay?
I don't know. I'm just annoyed Sony right now.
Oh, okay. Got you.
What did Sony do?
Oh, listen. I guess there goes our Type 2. There goes our Type 2.
Two things. Their asinine censorship pisses me off. And two, they've been out of the office since March. Or since May, which sucks because my account was stolen in May, and I haven't been able to get it back. So,
Yeah.
That's a valid reason.
but that does take us into our next news story, which Sony's announced that the PS4 will be able to remote play your PS5.
That's pretty huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that literally gives your last gen console a reason for being.
Right.
Other than the past, 8 years you used it.
Well, I mean, a continued reason is the way I should say that. I'm not saying it was useless beforehand or anything like that. I'm not trying to say that. I'm just saying that, I mean, we've all, all of us here are gamers. So we all have been through the whole cycle where you get your new console and your old console all of a sudden is just like off to the side. And, you might play it for a little bit because there's some games you want to finish or whatever. But the reality is like after the you get through like the end of those like last game or two, all of a sudden you're like figuring out if you like what box you need to put this thing in because it's like it doesn't serve a purpose, and then like next thing a couple years after that you're like, oh, should I just sell this or give this to like a cousin or like you're trying to figure out how to get it out of your house, so
Pinball Wiz in chat says, like the island of forgotten toys.
Exactly, Pinball Wiz. That's what I'm talking about. You get it, but that's what I'm saying. So the fact that you could literally take your console and let it be a remote version of the next gen console you have, that's pretty huge.
How remote? Can I keep it at work and play it?
No, crazy. It has to be on the same network.
Okay, okay. I get it. So
like if you want to play PlayStation in your living room or in your bedroom instead of the living room.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
And it's like, and here's the thing. I don't know. Now, here's the part that I guess, maybe you know this, Jay, because I haven't read the story. Like, it's making it seem like it's kind of more like like almost like a streaming gaming thing. But will that work for your like apps and stuff too?
You can stream Sony stuff to a phone with the Sony app also.
Yeah, I play Ghost of Tsushima on my phone.
But I guess what I'm wondering is, like, say I have like my PlayStation 5 with like my Netflix in the living room, and I use Netflix through the console.
That's
if I put my,
like, why would you want to do that?
Well, I mean, some people do
but
that.
it might be extra laggy depending on how good your internet is, because then you're going through a third stream to get it to the extra your bedroom.
I will say, when I used to try to watch streaming sites on my Vita PS4, it would never work.
Also, go ahead.
Yeah, something about like this content isn't authorized. So I think streaming services you're going to have to do directly.
But I guess technically it wouldn't even make sense, right? Because your PlayStation 4, it's already there. So yeah, you don't need to stream that. Yeah, that's interesting. But yeah, it's a cool idea. At least it's a good like. Anytime people are like looking to make sure that the stuff you have from before is compatible, that's a good thing. Like I know the same thing. I think supposedly that's what's supposed to happen with all of the hardware you have for your Xbox, right? Everything from on the Xbox One and Xbox One X, like all your controllers, all that stuff will work with your Series X or S. So, and I guess except everything except Connect, right?
One thing that Joe failed to mention in that story is that to be able to stream to your PS4, you're going to need a 3-year PlayStation Now subscription.
Why do you need a 3-year PlayStation Now subscription?
I'm just making it up.
Oh, I was like, what? I was like, why? Why is that the case? That doesn't even make
But
any sense.
Sony would probably do something like that.
I don't know, man. Yeah. So, all right. I should also mention, news-wise, DC actually has a new editor in chief, and I don't have her name right here because I suck. But remember, they had basically 2 interim editors in chief at DC. They put the 2 ladies in charge.
Yeah.
One of those ladies they let go, and the other one is now the official editor in chief at DC
Is her
Comics.
name Jim Lee?
Her name is not Jim Lee. No.
Lady.
What'd you say, Jay?
So congratulations, unnamed lady.
Yeah, I'm failing at production, so forgive me. Mo, are you looking that name up, or do I need to?
I was, but I was going into the next news story.
Oh, okay, go into the next news story, and I'll look her name up real quick.
Grant Morrison has been non-binary for 50 years. 50 years, rather.
What's that mean?
That means that he's like gender fluid.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like as far as like his identity, or as far as his sexuality, or both? I'm going too deep into the weeds. I know.
Yeah. He didn't go into that interview talking about who he likes to fuck or anything, you know. But he did say that they didn't have the vocabulary for him to express who he felt he was back then. And so that means, to me, that goes more into identity instead of just like where he chooses to shoot the good load, you know?
Got it.
But I mean, really, like I saw that news and it's like, that doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah. No, absolutely not. It doesn't.
It like, I mean, you look at any of his work and there's at least one non-binary or trans character in everything. And and he does a good job of writing these characters to the point that nobody's ever complained. You know, you don't see the Comicsgate people complaining about Grant Morrison's characters, right?
That is true.
Yeah, so it comes from a genuine place, and you know, characters like Danny the Street become favorites, and it's like, wow, this is so weird. It's like that, you know, and then you start thinking about the agent of the normal agency or whatever from Doom Patrol, shit like that, and it's like, man, now it's like, okay, this is where the idea comes from. I thought it was just from him worshiping the Dark Lord or the Tree Snake or whatever, like he gets accused of worshiping, but turns out he's just a dude. Is non-binary and felt weird about it his whole life. So, or has been made feel weird about it his whole life. So, here we are. Grant Morrison.
There it is.
Non-binary.
Ubisoft apologizes, and they're going to make some changes to some ableist language in Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
What? Okay, I know what ableist language means. I think I do.
Yeah.
Oh, congratulations! I always have trouble with that. Like, ableism is one thing I have yet to wrap my head around. But,
I mean, listen, it's one of those things too, where it's like, this is how you can, like, you know, being able to look at things and say, like, okay, I can see how in society we take it for granted that something is supposed to be a particular way, you know, and that, you know, that definitely happens when it comes to, you know, people that, you know, may be physically challenged or whatnot. So yeah, but continue, Jay. Differently abled. There you go. Thank you, Mo.
I was just doing a George Carlin impression.
Courtney Craven, the founder of the accessibility site Can I Play That, tweeted about the text describing a character named Iforwin who suffered from severe burns. The description says she was, quote, horribly burned in a childhood accident, end quote, and is now, quote, terrified someone will see her disfigured face, end quote. Craven said that it's absolutely unacceptable to talk about facial differences this way. She also described the embarrassment of seeing the game representing burns this way while sitting next to her girlfriend, who was a burn victim and spent many years ashamed of her scars.
Mm-hmm.
Ubisoft quickly issued a response apologizing for unintentionally reinforcing ableism through this language. It promised to remove the language in an upcoming update, but did not give a timeline for when that update will come.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's real. Like, I mean, I look, ironically enough, I actually dated a young lady in my past that actually had a severe burn as well. And she was definitely very self-conscious of it. And it took her a long time to kind of get to a place where she's like, this is like, it's okay for me to show this if I want to show it. Like, because, it's one of those things where you kind of like, well, you get self-conscious about the idea that people are going to be freaked out by your presence. And, it's a whole different thing. Like, and it's like we live in a world where people will tell you like, hey, like they will mess around and be like, why would you just show that with all of us here? When it's like, hey, this is just me.
Yeah, I get that.
However,
well,
it reminded me of this one woman who was very comfortable with herself, who she had a huge ass indentation in her head.
mm-hmm.
And you can't tell from looking at her, but she would go around like taking people's hands and say, hey, feel this. And like putting your hand inside the hole, like the head indentation.
Oh, is it like her hair covers it or something?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So is she being ableist to us that don't have dents in our head?
No, that's like just pride.
Okay.
It did make me uncomfortable. Like she didn't ask for consent. She kind of just takes your hand. Like she just took my hand and put it in her head indentation.
Well, wait. So wait, are you saying she forced you to touch her head?
Yeah.
But she didn't force you to touch her head. It's just that you agreed to touch her head, but you were expecting something different, right?
No,
that's like
I did not agree. She grabbed my hand and said, "Here, I have a hole in my head," and like put my hand on her head. Like,
now,
Jay's like, that's assault.
Yeah, but
let me go, freak.
Would it be ableist to assume that because she has a hole in her head, she can't think about Joe not wanting to touch her?
Yes, that's absolutely That is absolutely ableist. Absolutely.
Okay, just checking.
You're basically saying You're basically saying she has brain damage because she has a dent in her head.
Okay.
You don't know her life.
I don't know her at all. I'm asking. I need to
go.
I don't want to.
And don't you forget it, you ableist son of a bitch.
Like the real question. Well, first of all, how do I sound? Different setup right now.
No, you sound
good. Okay, so the real question is, did you ask her if you could touch her other holes?
Whoa! See. Oh, how did
if we're touching? Look, if we're touching
completely
holes,
different way to offend this woman. How did he do that? Like,
wait, no, she's the one showing off holes. You know.
Then
right. You got to keep it to dimples.
She has a dent in her head. Oz has dents.
First of all, you ask what other dimples, I guess, you're allowed to touch. Second of all, you ask for consent if you can choose the appendage.
Wow.
So
now, I have another ableism question.
Oh, wow.
Because Larry, you said you know ableism. So now I've had all these questions before.
Listen, by no means am I any expert. I just understood the idea, the concept. But you can ask your question, and I will try to.
Thanks for like lowering the show's credibility. We're over here asking ableist. That's our new segment.
No, listen. No, that's not our new segment. We can bring on. Listen, we have a
That must
vast
be- that must
audience.
be good content. Since you don't want to watch these horror movies, we can do Ask an Alien video.
Yeah, that's what we should do instead.
Yeah.
Oh, what I will say is, I'm sure we have a vast audience. I'm sure that there's somebody with a disability that is a part of our, part of our audience that would be more than willing to answer your questions, Moses. They might even be willing to do it on air.
Can you take a stab at it, like Joe did at her dent?
Oh, jeez. Yes, ask your question, Mo. Go.
Okay, so one time I was deadlifting with my nephew. I was doing 320, and then he did it. I did 3 sets of 15, and then another 2 sets of 20, and then he only got to the 3 sets of 15, and then started throwing up and couldn't finish it. Me calling him a puny human, is that being ableist?
No.
Okay.
No. He's
because he could build up to. He could catch up to you.
A puny human. Yes, he is a puny human.
Oh yeah, then there's that.
So, Image Comics has announced that comic book creator Mirko Andolfo, who did Mercy and Unnatural, is working with David Goy, Andrea Bocardo, who did Star Wars, Dr. Aphra, Empire X-Men, and Barbara Nacenzo, who did the Ballad of Halo Jones. They're working on the forthcoming 12-issue science fiction series Deep Beyond.
What's it about?
Is produced by Aranica Studio, the Italian media company, which worked with America on other Image Comics titles. And it is about, it's set in a toxic and underpopulated future Earth, devastated by the dire consequences of the Millennium Bug, which caused significant disasters and a halt to civilization as we know it. The survival of the whole of mankind and maybe of the planet itself is handled by a small number of people. Here, a contingent of talented scientists, despite the adverse situation and feuds that continue among the remaining population, try to understand and study what is hidden in the depths of the abyss. Below may lurk something mysterious and dangerous, even something that could lead to an even more destructive catastrophe.
That's not a great description.
I'm in.
It might be interesting, but like I feel like, I mean, I know it's not like the log line or anything like that, but I'm like, I hear a lot of like random ideas that will probably pan out and be interesting based on the work that those people have done previously. But it all sounds so generic that it's kind of like, so what's the hook exactly? Like,
I couldn't tell you. Like, to be honest, you know me, I'm a fanboy. Like, they had me at Mirko Andolfo.
okay, and that's fair. And then like,
that too.
they're like, we got such strong talent, we don't have to write a good description.
I don't like it.
When they said Millennium Bug, do they mean the old 1999 computer bug?
No.
No, they mean COVID.
Because
It's the bug that millennials are catching.
The cover of the first issue is amazing. And I meant to do a screen grab earlier, but I was not able to.
I don't
share
like
your
this.
screen.
Okay.
I don't like this. I'm totally against it.
You're Oz, you're anti this comic?
He's being
Yes.
ableist.
I'm anti Mirka Adolfo doing anything at this point because I've been trying to get some art from her and she's too goddamn busy to fulfill my needs.
It's always so personal with Oz. Like,
If I make fun of Oz for not being able to get art from her, is that being able?
No, it's not. No, it's not. Please continue making fun of Oz. That is a great cover.
Look, I love that. Like I pictured tentacles. So like seeing that, yeah, no, like I wish they was on TKO so I could just buy the whole thing at once.
There you go. I know. There you go. No, I would totally I would see that book on the shelf, not know anything about it, and just buy it. 100%. Like I would buy that book just on the strength of what it is on the cover, on the strength of the cover, and just be like, well, let's try it. You know, it almost like, yeah, never mind. But yeah, but the description is terrible.
I don't think it's that fair.
That's fair. That's fair.
Like to the point. It's to the point without spoiling anything, which means there's probably some good shit there. Knowing the people on it.
And that makes sense to me. Like if you're like, hey, there's a lot happening in the book and we don't want to spoil anything, that's fine. But I would almost be like, you should just say that. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like Crossover, the book that we're gonna talk about tonight, like everything they talked about it was literally just be like, hey, it's like if a superhero crossover event spilled into the real world, and they were like, we can't say much more than that, but it's going to be one of the greatest things you've ever read. And it's just like, man, that's a lot. That's a lot. You know what I'm saying? But at least they're telling me, like, we can't tell you more because it's awesome. And even if I think they're overhyping it, at least I'm like, okay, well, they're confident in their product. You know what I mean? Like they're like, we want to tell you more, but we would ruin it. And it's the greatest story you're ever going to read, so we can't ruin it.
Not to mention that the actual book tells you it's not about a superhero crossover spilling out into the real world.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, but we'll get to that later. So anyway,
that's why they weren't able to tell you that it was that.
Yeah. So also too, the new editor-in-chief at DC Comics is Marie Javins, is her name, and she, if I'm not mistaken, was primarily in regards, or was from the digital side of DC and their digital distribution. So she's like the editor-in-chief now. So
no wonder. That's all. No, because now we're getting DC Infinite.
Maybe so.
Yeah, we're getting that now. In the last week, they announced it, so that's going to be great. I'm gonna get it.
Okay, well there you go.
The Black Lantern Omnibus still isn't available digitally.
Well, listen, you better email Marie. I'm sorry, Mrs. Javins to you.
Yeah, isn't she? She's named. Didn't they name the convention center after her, where they do New York Comic Con?
You are hilarious. That's not
Marie Javins Center.
Like Javits, isn't that Javits? I don't know. I don't go to New York Comic Con.
I've never been there. They don't allow. I don't.
They're right. Also, too, a story I meant to talk about a few weeks ago that I didn't get the chance.
Type 2, Larry.
Type 2. Marvel Unlimited, like literally cut their new comics being introduced to the digital site in half. Like the time, I think it was 6 months. They cut it to 3 months. So if you're one of those people that likes your Marvel comics, your digital comic subscriptions or whatever, you can look for stuff sooner because it's there. So I think they actually did it like say for instance Empire that came out not that long ago. If not the entire event, the beginning of that event is there. So check out that stuff if you're doing that. Okay. So real quick, anybody got any quick story?
For that. And
yeah, no, I mean, if digital is how you read comics, then yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And it in my mind, like
it is.
Go ahead, Mo.
No, what it is, digital is how I read it. If I can't buy it at the moment, I bootleg it, and then eventually, when I get to the convention, which they're not happening this year, I buy it directly from the artist. So now I can't do that. So I'm like, you know what? I think with DC Infinite now and Marvel Ultimate doing that, I think I'm just going to sign up for those two. And I still have my Comixology Unlimited where I get stuff. That's not new stuff at all. And I do get a discount on the day and digital stuff too. I get like 10%. Yeah. So It's okay, but if I can just kind of catch up on things, then I think I'm gonna do that.
It's interesting because like I said, I everyone that has been listening to the show knows I'm not a digital guy. Like I prefer to read my comics. I prefer a physical comic, an in-hand copy. But cutting the time, like 3 months seems a lot more reasonable to me than 6 months. Like I don't understand why if I want to keep up with comics, I would want to like sign up for something like this and not read and be literally 6 months behind of everything that's happening. Because especially if I'm seeing stuff on the internet randomly and all this kind of stuff, it's like it's too much time to
Those are just streaming services, right?
Which one?
Marvel.
Oh yeah. You don't own the books. No, you're able to like you have access to their digital library and you read the comics.
On Netflix or some other site, like they don't get they come out in theaters.
Yeah, but you're because the difference is the next installment of the movie doesn't come out every month. Like Netflix, like even like say for instance for Netflix, even when you're talking about TV shows and such, before the new season starts, they come out with the last season like 2 weeks beforehand. So you're like, hey, if you want to binge this before the next season starts, feel free. But in comics, it's like, dude, I'm 6 months behind. Like, so it's like if I hear about something cool that happened 3 months ago, I gotta wait another 3 months just to see the beginning of it. And Lord forbid I get spoiled. You know what I mean? Where I'm just like,
that's why you should just buy your comics.
Well, I agree with you, and that's what I do for my physical books.
But I'm saying, half the time you can't catch up on your physical books too. Well, now you can, but before you couldn't. There's still a backlog.
No, and even now there's still a backlog technically. But I guess what I'm saying though is at least I have them, and it's like like there's a difference between me having it and not being able to read it, or me choosing not to read it, like not like cutting out the time, versus me not even having the option. It's like if I don't read the current Batman, that's on me because I own them.
Right.
But if I go to my DC thing and they're like, okay, well, you can't read the next issue, the current issue for 6 months from now. Well, you're putting me behind. And I might even say, and honestly, 3 months is still not enough. I mean, 3 months is not enough time for someone like me to be like, oh, well, I'll sign up digitally. I'm not going to do that. Like, I want, like, if you're like, okay, it's like a week behind or a month behind, that'd be one thing. But 3 months is way too far for me because I'm going to get spoiled because I'm talking to people that like comics. So,
And the thing is, I think for you, Larry, there is, other than day and date release for that, I don't think there's a amount of time that's comfortable for you.
I would agree with you. And don't get me wrong, like even if a Marvel Unlimited, it is unlimited, right?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's unlimited. That's the name of the service. But if Marvel Unlimited was day and date released digitally, I still wouldn't be like, oh, I'm going to get that instead of buying my books physically. I want books in my hand. Now, don't get me wrong. I would think harder about it because there are books that I would probably read if I had access to them, but I don't want to like buy them. And unlike like say for a gaming service where I'm like, I'm not going to sign up for like, Game Pass because I don't know that I have time to read or to play all those games. I would sign up maybe for a digital, like a unlimited comic service because I'm like, well, when people say, hey, the new Thor is really cool, you should read that, I very well might take the time to read that issue of Thor digitally as opposed to buying it and don't have to feel like, oh, well, I spent like, I took the chance on spending $4 on a book that I don't know that I even want but what I did do instead was like pay like, $6 or $10 to have access to a whole library of books on the day. Or even ironically enough, you know how comic distribution could go sometimes. I went into the comic book store today. Raymond could tell you, he was right there with me, and the Ten of Swords event is going on right now, right? And part 13, 14, and 15, I think, came out today, or maybe it was 14, 15, 16. Either way, 3 X-Men comic books came out today that are all part of this Ten of Swords event. The comic shop didn't get Excalibur because Diamond was just like, they shorted them. They didn't give them any copies. Man. So my copy of Excalibur didn't come to my shop for my pull list today, and it turns out that it is literally the middle part of the 3 parts that came out today. So I can read like part 13. I don't have part 14, and I have part 15, or actually it might be 14, 15, 16. I don't remember which part it is. But either way, you all understand what I'm saying. If I happen to be a part of this service, I would just be able to be like, okay, well, you know what? When that book comes in 2 weeks from now, I'm still going to get it, but I can read it tonight to fill in my gap, and then I'll read my other physical copy. And that would actually make me really happy. That would make me feel like, oh, this service paid for itself that time, huh?
I think that would discourage most people from buying comics if they could just subscribe to a service the same day.
Well, but here's the thing. That's what people said about digital comics in the beginning, right? They're like, if you're going to buy it digitally, it is going to cannibalize the physical market. But when that happened, it turned out that wasn't the case. It was a whole different group of people that were like, yeah, and don't get me wrong, there were some people like Jay, you're a person that likes comics. You, at a particular point, you would have went into a store to go buy stuff, but you prefer to do it digitally now. But it turned out that people like yourself were in the minority. And more than anything, it was like, okay, there was another consumer, or you, Moses, because I know you like buy a fair amount of digital too, but you also buy a fair amount of physical comics as well.
If I had the ability to just, Atomic Basement, God love them, they're nearby, but it's still on Wednesdays. My time is very limited. I do not
absolutely.
I do the Heavy Metal Minute. I do the Fraction of Forever. And then I prepare for this, and like today, I literally clocked out of work at 10 a.m. So I was trying to get a quote from Hillary Clinton on the election, and it didn't work out. But I can tell you, she said that's what she said. But I couldn't record it. But so it's one of those things. Like the other day I went, there was no parking in front of it. So I parked in the red and just threw $60 at them and grabbed whatever I could grab and ran out. But I love the experience of buying comics physically, just buying them. I don't have to read them. But I'll do that. I'll do that and buy digitally too. Like I'll do both.
Well, there you go. But it turned out there was a whole group of people that were like, I would read comics, but I don't want to go to a comic book store, or I don't want a whole bunch of papers sitting in a corner. And so, the digital people, they buy their books too, and they might buy different books, and that's okay as well. But it's just one of those things where I don't know. I mean, I guess what I'm saying to you, Jay, is I think you are right in the sense that there are some people, but it's not as many people as you would hope or you would think, I guess is what I should say. And then also, too, it's kind of like, hey, man, it's like, I don't want comic shops to go out of business because I personally like to get my comics physically. But, the market will determine who wins and who loses. It's like people, if what saves comics and helps them exist is a digital distribution method, I prefer there be a comic book industry and it be digital, then there'd be no comic book industry at all because they didn't want to make that change. You know what I mean? So, yeah. So I don't know. Anyway. All right. What else? We got anything else before we jump to this Heavy Metal Minute?
Did we talk about the new Star Wars Christmas special?
We did not. The Star Wars, the Lego Star Wars holiday special.
Yeah, they're trying it again, but this time they, took the smart route and took it away from Lucas and handed it to Lego.
Look, I mean, I don't know a lot about it, but I would assume. Wait, say that again, Moses. You kind of muffled.
I don't know if that's a smart route. I think just going to Lego itself, like they could literally just redo the original, and just in Lego, and it would work. It would be better just because it's Lego. Like I would actually watch a Lego animated thing if they did that.
I don't know. The original had Chewie's dad or granddad or one of them watching porn.
I don't care if it had Chewie's grandmother fingering herself. I don't watch it.
I think that was there too.
It was $100 at the LA Comic Book and Sci-Fi show on bootleg, so I didn't get it. You know, and then one of the dudes that work at the Blockbuster next to my Starbucks was trying to sell it to me for like $200 on bootleg VHS. So if they wanted me to see it, they'd make it available. So do it on Lego.
They didn't want you to see it. Lucas bought every copy that he could and set it on fire.
So wait, so Mo, have you never seen the Star Wars Holiday Special?
I did eventually, you know, in the days of LimeWire, did get a copy of it, but you know, it wasn't real player like this, like the old AGN, you know.
Yeah, I hear you.
So, and then it was transcoded from VHS to real player, so you know that never really works. So I would love to watch it on Lego. And then and your next question, I've never watched any animated Lego thing. So
got you. I was gonna ask you that.
Hey, you didn't watch Batman Lego?
No, I didn't. But I did watch. What I did watch was the one Dark Tranquility music video that was done in Lego.
Oh, I don't even know what that is. Wait, so
what about White Stripes video?
I didn't. I'm not a big White Stripes fan, so I didn't watch that.
Have you not played any of those games, Mo?
Weird.
Huh? Wait, one at a time, Joe.
Yeah, go ahead, Jay.
What strikes me as weird. Like,
You know, I can see that because as soon as I said it, I'm like, you know what? That's not entirely true. Because I do like the proficiency of just two people playing three instruments and making it work. And then I did watch Jack White's Saturday Night Live performance, and I was like, maybe I should go back and listen to more of these White Stripes stuff. So next week I'll review everything White Stripes did, and I'll give it 5 out of 5. I can tell you now, I'm giving it 5 out of 5. I heard but I just never followed their career like that.
None of those. You never played any of those games, Mo?
The games, yeah, but not like the animated movie, like
Lego
movie or the Lego Batman movie. The Star Wars ones are the ones I played, and then I played the DC Lego one? Yeah. You know, it might have been just the Star Wars more than anything. I like them. They were all right.
Ray, what's your opinion on this whole Lego Star Wars Holiday Special, buddy?
It looks interesting. I saw the trailer. It's not really a remake of the original. Mm-hmm. It's like a new story where like time travel is involved, so all the characters get to mix with each other.
It's Lego Star Wars Endgame.
Like an Adult Swim kind of feel, like just comedy. So that was pretty good.
Can the people that do animated Lego compete with Adult Swim, or is it a different kind of comedy? In your opinion, Ray?
I think they can. It'll just be a lot more family friendly because I've seen a few of the other Star Wars Lego specials, and they've been pretty good. They're very kid friendly, but they tend to be funny.
Got it. All right, folks. Type two. we're gonna let's transition there to
halfway there.
Right, halfway there. Let's transition to the Heavy Metal Minute, and then after that, Ray, I know that you are here primarily to talk about this Transformers My Little Pony Friendship in Disguise joint. So let's go to the Heavy Metal Minute, and then coming out the Heavy Metal Minute, let's go into that review, and we can go ahead and talk about Transformers My Little Pony. Everybody good with that?
Yep.
All right. Well, I'm going to take your silence as consent. No,
it's funny how you keep putting Transformers first.
That's what it says on the cover, right?
Yeah, it is Transformers My Little Pony.
Yeah, it's Transformers My Look. I look. I made a conscious effort because in my mind It's always My Little Pony Transformers, only because it was that even before I read it, and after I read it, I'm like, this is definitely My Little Pony. But anyway, look, Transformers My Little Pony Friendship in Disguise review coming up right after this Moses Magnum Heavy Metal Minute. Mm-hmm.
So it looks like Slipknot is launching an online festival focused on only up and coming bands. Knotfest is one of Slipknot's music festivals. It has had pretty good lineup. I didn't go to the last Knotfest, and it's one of the few California shows where I haven't seen Behemoth. But yeah, Knotfest isn't happening live in person this year, clearly. So they're taking things online and giving a whole new twist. Slipknot has announced their free online festival at knotfest.com. KNOTFEST.com. And it's called the Pulse of Maggots Fest. It'll kick off at noon, November 13th. At Knotfest's website, knotfest.com. And it's going to have bands that are up and coming. I believe they're signed, but they just have less exposure because it's a popularity thing with these bands. Sometimes they just don't market themselves right, or they don't have a team of people fucking with the algorithm on social media so that they'll pop up on my feed or your feed. But one of the bands, here's a list of some of the bands here. It says Hacktivist, Octoberends, Purziek, Cerberus, Orbit Culture, Tala, Demotional, Vended, Scarlet, Year of the Knife, Introdal, Wargasm, Diamond Construct, Death Blooms, Death Tour, Victims Without the Eyes. It's not called Victims Without the Eyes. It's Victims Without the Eyes. Letter eyes. Thrown into Exile, Once Awake, 156/Silence, and I Revolt. The festival will also launch a special Pulse of the Maggots t-shirt, which a portion of the proceeds will go to Music Cares. Now this is kind of cool because it's an interesting way of giving you the festival experience. You've heard me talk about Blackened Worldwide. You've heard me talk about Sacrament in its entirety by Lamb of God, which there's an update on that. I'll get to that a little later. But I also talked about the Earthless, Code Orange, Twitch streams. There's ways of bringing you these live concert experiences virtually, and this is the latest one. They're going to be giving you a t-shirt, like I said, which is nice. But it's a good way of doing these things. I'm getting to the point where these virtual things are not cutting it for me. I want to see live music. And who knows? We'll see where it goes from here. I'm Moses Magnum. This has been Heavy Metal.
All right.
Woo! Comic book
Review.
comic book
Like review.
well, not like that, but like
All right. Let's do it, ladies and gentlemen. Fantastic forum. We're back, and we're going to bring you a review of my My Little Pony. There he is, the Magnum Stallion. My Transformers, My Little Pony, Friendship in Disguise. What happened to Oz? No. So we're reviewing basically the entire run, right? Numbers 1 through 4, Jay.
Yeah.
Okay. So Jay, why don't you start us off, buddy? Talk to the people. Tell them what Transformers, My Little Pony, Friendship in Disguise is all about.
So it's a non-canonical crossover IDW did. My Little Pony, Transformers mixed together. Basically, the story is Queen Chrysalis does a spell to bring other changelings into the world to help her conquer it. And as the Decepticons and Autobots are fighting over a broken space bridge, they get sucked into Equestria and are now kind of mixing with My Little Pony, with the Decepticons trying to take over and steal magic, and the Autobots are fighting against them.
You can't even get through it without smiling.
It's just fun. Like, it's just a weird type of fun. Like, it's nonsensical, but I don't know, it's just kind of cool. So yeah. So we start off with we have the intro story, then we get RC and Starscream fighting with Rarity, helping out. We get Spike and Grimlock doing the story together.
Oh, wait. Tell the people who Spike is.
Spike is a baby dragon who works with the Twilight Sparkle.
Okay, because I'm just saying, like, for Transformers fans, there's a Spike in Transformers.
Yeah.
And so you can't just be like Spike and don't like qualify with what Spike you're talking about, because as a Transformer fan, you're like, oh, Spike is in this? Huh?
Why don't we qualify Grimlock?
Because there's only one Grimlock.
Yeah, there's no Grimlock in My Little Pony.
Exactly. Like, you're right. My Little Pony fans are like, wait, are he talking about the Pony Grimlock? There's no Pony Grimlock. There is, in fact, though, a Transformer Spike. So if you say Spike and Grimlock, you're like, oh, wait a minute. So there's no pony in that story? And it's like, no, there's definitely it's not a pony, but there's a pony character.
Right. And then we get another story with Pinkie Pie and an Autobot I'm not familiar with fighting. I'm blanking on dude's name.
Which?
Pinkie Pie Gage is by Shockwave.
Right.
Oh yeah, it's Shockwave. Yeah.
You're blanking on Shockwave, Jay?
I'm sorry. I've got a lot going in my head right now.
I was totally thinking you were talking about like Misfire or something like that. I was like, is that the story of Misfire? but look, I'm mad because I was sitting here thinking like, which one is Pinkie Pie? I was like,
the pink one.
Yeah.
My dude, aren't all of them pink? They're all pink ponies,
Only
right?
1/3.
Except Rainbow Dash. Rainbow Dash has rainbow hair. I don't think she's a pink pony. She might be blue. Is she blue?
I thought they were going to say they're all hot.
No, why would I say that about the ponies? Listen, I'm leaving that comment for Raymond. Raymond's into the whole pony porn thing.
So, I'm going to punch Larry next time I see him.
After that,
I would like the record to show that he did not deny it. He just said he was going to punch me.
After that, we get Fluttershy versus Soundwave and the cassettes.
All right, now, let me ask you this question, Jay. Are you remembering this, or are you like actually looking at the book right now?
I'm looking at the book right now.
Oh, okay. Because I'm like, man, Jay is good. Like, because I'm like, now you remember, like,
but Larry, real quick, Larry, why did you have to ruin it for the audience? They could have just kept thinking Joe was good.
Listen, the audience knows how good Jay is without him having to remember each of these things individually. What I was gonna say, like, I'm asking this question though because I'm like, how does he not remember Gage? Because this might actually be a testament to my like messed up memory. Because I've said this a whole bunch of times where I said to people where you all have known where I'm like, okay, I don't remember what I did yesterday, but I can remember like the name and transformation of like all these random Transformers. And I'm just like, we had like a 30-minute conversation about Gage and whether that was like a new Transformer or an old Transformer. Like, where did this guy come from? Because you asked me about Gage, and I was like, I don't know any Gage. I'm like, who is Gage? And it turned out it was like an IDW character that got created like last year.
I do remember that conversation now.
Yeah, it was in the car on the way to.
Right.
Yeah. So, but here's the thing. You all know me. Like, normally I don't remember these kinds of conversations, but I remember that about Gage. And when I read the book, I was like, oh, God damn it, is that Gage? Like, oh, look, that's a little bit Gage showing up, but I don't even know if Gage is Gage like a non-binary Transformer?
I think
she's
so.
Female, just female.
Oh, okay, female.
Or
it doesn't see. You are so dumb, Moses, for that. No, but for real though, because it's interesting because I was looking at Gage and I'm like, okay, I know Gage because of the conversation. Like, Gage is like a protege of RC, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's a girl Transformer.
I thought
But
it
at
was
the
a guy.
was exactly it's not defined. Like, it could be a guy, it could be a girl.
Well,
like
in this book, she uses female pronouns.
Oh, does she?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see that. At least I don't remember that. I remember looking at the character and just kind of being like, oh, like, it doesn't look like a girl robot. Because, RC, Windblade, Alita 1, Chromia, like all these, they got like female robot kind of thing going on. Gage kind of looks like a young cup.
Wait. When you say female robot kind of thing going on, what does that mean?
Like curves.
The plates, the hips.
Yeah.
So you mean human construct female parts for robots?
Well, if you want to say it like that, sure.
Okay. I just don't want you to be ableist about it.
I mean, curves isn't. I got curves.
You don't have curves.
I'm very round. You have no idea
got
how
rolls.
round I am.
You got rolls. That's different. Rolls and curves aren't the same thing. I'm not saying they're not women built like you, Oz. I'm just saying that we don't call that curves for the women either. For those women,
you stick out. You don't go in the right places.
Yeah, when you're shaped like a pear, Oz.
They're pear-shaped women,
right?
I got boobs too.
Oh, no, we know all this.
I bet you do. Starting an OnlyFans for us.
It's like, we're not attracted to you or those women.
We just want to be friends with you.
I'm sorry. I apologize. Continue back with Transformers, My Little Pony, Friendship in Disguise, please, Jay.
So, yeah, after that, we get the Rainbow Dash story where she's racing an Autobot.
Jay.
No, it's Rainbow Dash and Windblade, and I think that they're fighting Starscream.
No, you're absolutely right, Raymond, and I appreciate you for chiming in here because Raymond, like Jay, is a My Little Pony fan. Raymond is also a Transformers fan, which I would have said Jay was too, but apparently he's not anymore. Jay has decided not to be a Transformers fan because he doesn't know the name of any Transformers. All he knows the name of is ponies. And that's okay. If you want to just be a My Little Pony fan, Jay, if you're only a brony, that's okay. But you used to be a Transformers fan, and I don't know what happened to you.
It turns out Jay's a trans pony.
I remember Starscream. I remember Bumblebee.
In Jay's defense, we were watching the Netflix Transformers special, and I had to explain a whole bunch of stuff to Larry.
That's not true.
I blame Michael Bay. He scrambled all your brains.
No, Michael Bay didn't scramble jack for me. And Raymond is talking nonsense. There was one Transformer.
He's like, "Who's that?" And I'm like,
all I know is I saw something that called itself Bumblebee, but it didn't look like a Chevy.
Oh, what the hell are you talking about?
The Bumblebee in the book. It didn't look like the Bumblebee that I know and love.
I've gotten rid of Oz. I'm sorry. I apologize. You can come back, Oz. You can come back. God,
you freaked me out because I've been having trouble with this goddamn setup, and I see myself disappear.
That's why I brought you back quick, because I was like, you know what? Oz is going to hang up and be like, my internet. No, he's going to show up in chat like, I can't believe this is happening. No.
That's the title. That's the title for this episode. Michael Bay didn't scramble jack shit for me.
Wait, I didn't say that. Did I say that?
Yes, you did.
No, you didn't.
I don't think I said that like that, but I said it similarly.
You said Michael Bay didn't scramble anything for me.
Yeah, it sounds funny if I say jack shit instead of jack.
That's fair. Go for it. Make sure you put the appropriate asterisks and dollar signs.
We're not on all games anymore. We don't need that.
No,
No,
YouTube is actually stricter than the Dark
exactly.
Lord.
I'm looking at.
Ruben.
I don't give a fuck about YouTube. I'm talking about Podbean.
Okay,
That's
listen,
where it's just been jumping off right now.
I mean,
By the way,
YouTube is the one you monetize, but okay. All right.
Derek H says hi, by the way, to everyone.
What up, Derek H?
Who? Sorry. New line. Who dat?
Oh wow.
New streaming service. Who dat?
Missed you, Derek H. Call into the show,
shot.
Derek. Call into the show. All right. So Transformers, My Little Pony, Friendship in Disguise. Let's keep going, Jay.
Next is Discord and Applejack versus the Insecticons. And then we get the finale. The big battle between the Autobots and the main six versus the Decepticons and the Changelings.
Yes. Okay. So, wait, Jay. So I appreciate you laying that out for us. And I'm going to come back to you to find out what your thoughts on this series is. I want to go to Moses first, though. Mo, you got to read any of these? One, maybe?
Why me first?
Because I need to hear what your thoughts on this is. If you got to read any. Because here's the thing. This is totally the thing where I could totally see, and if this is what happened, oh, damn, Moses was like, I'm off camera. Like, Moses like, oh, I'm off the stream. Oh,
wow, he's done.
He's done. Because what I was gonna say is I could totally see Moses like jumping on this joint, like reading the first issue, and in the first part, if this fool like read that, he might be like, I'm not reading any more of this. Like I could see that, like literally the first part of the first issue, because each, and I should mention, which you laid it out, Jay, but each issue is basically like 2 vignettes of ponies and Transformers.
Okay, well, if that's the case, I can step in for Mo.
wait, Moses is back. Hold
on. Let me get into character.
Oh yeah, get into character. Wait. Hold on, Moses. Oz is stepping in for you, and then you get to go next. Go, Mo. Go ahead, Oz. Go ahead, Moses.
Fuck this fucking thing. This fucking heavy metal minute. Hail Satan.
You were close.
Mo, I don't know if you got to hear what I was saying, but I basically was like, I could totally see you reading, like, say, the first half of this issue and being like, I'm not reading any more of this. Is that what happened?
Well, no. Well, here's the thing. I did have that initial reaction, but I was like, you know what? This is for Joe. I'm gonna push through. Emily, I wish she would. I set up a microphone for her, and she won't talk because she's shy. But she was watching me nod off while reading it, and it was an odd time. I was having sinus issues. I took an edible. And I read the first issue, and I'm like, okay, this isn't that bad. Like, it tells you right off the bat. It makes an excuse for itself,
Right?
For existing. Saying it's just fun, and it's like, okay, okay, that makes an excuse for itself. Okay, I'll keep reading. I read the first issue, and I'm like, I got to push through. I didn't get to read past issue 3, but yeah, what happened was I couldn't sleep last night with my sinus issues, and then I took an edible. And the edible started telling me I had spleen issues and shit like that. So then I just kept reading it and then nodding off and reading it. So I read it intermittently from between midnight and 4 a.m. And I did have fun reading it, but it has no business existing. And as a stockholder in IDW Media Holdings, I'm ashamed that this is where my money is going. Like, at least do it for fucking Netflix or some shit. Like, draw some, license it out to Netflix. Do the animated thing, because I think animated would be a lot more fun. It would get a lot more people interested in those individual properties at IDW Media. And you want to have fun, IDW? Do it at fucking Netflix.
Okay. Well, there you go. That's the Moses Magnum take.
Yeah.
Ray, let's balance that some, because I know, like I said, you're a My Little Pony fan, you're a Transformers fan. What was your take on like, I know this was a comic that you actually were kind of like anticipating even before it came out. So what was your take
when they announced it? I was looking really forward to it because, like I said, I like Transformers and My Little Pony.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember when it was announced, it was fairly divisive with like all the Transformer message boards. Like, people were like, why does this exist? I hate this already. But it came out, and I thought it was okay. But you can tell the way it is. Like Larry said, it's a bunch of vignettes, not like a big overall story exactly. And it was done in such a way that you didn't have to know anything about either to read it, which is a good thing, I guess. But if you wanted something more substantial because of that, you're not going to get like a better sight of the story isn't as like deep as it could be.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I said, the way they wrote it feels like, we just want people to read this and just be able to read this on its own and not need to know anything about My Little Pony or Transformers.
Mm-hmm.
So that is a good thing in that it's fairly self-contained. Mm-hmm. It is like non-canonical, so you don't have to worry about, I don't have to read anything else to know anything that goes on in this book or know anything else about either franchise.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, I do wish the story was a bit better because, like I said, just a bunch of small little stories.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but I did enjoy it, and there are little nods things here and there to like both franchises.
And I will say that I agree with that in the sense that, I can't say I agree with it. What I can say is I believe that is the case because I know Transformers, and from the Transformer side of things, I was like, the characterization for a lot of these characters are there. Like, I feel like the people that wrote this, like, at least took the time to understand who some of these Transformers, like who these characters are. Now, I don't know anything about the My Little Pony side of things, so this is like literally like, I feel like I probably quadrupled my knowledge of My Little Pony in reading these books because I was just like, I didn't know.
I wish the people who wrote the TV show did the book. Because the books are okay, but the TV show,
the My Little Pony TV show, you mean?
Yeah, the Friendship is Magic show.
Oh, okay.
They'd written this because I think it would have been a lot better.
Okay.
And the people, whoever does the writing stuff of the show is like, you can tell they're like horribly nerdy because they slip in all this stuff that has no business being in a My Little Pony show.
Got it.
Like there's X-Men references that you'd be like, why is that there?
There's X-Men references in My Little Pony?
Is. There's a bunch of anime references out of nowhere.
Really?
Rick and Morty's in the show.
Rick and Morty
Slender Man is in the show. They
is
sneak
in the My Little Pony
There's
show?
a Pony Rick and a Pony Morty in the show.
Oh, come on, man.
And there's
That's
a
not
huge
true.
amount of like Doctor Who references.
What?
And you hear the transforming noise in a bunch of episodes.
Listen, and
Now,
that was a. Oh, go ahead, Jay. Go ahead.
Well, the show writers had a lot of comic talent writing for them.
Oh, really?
In particular, Gail Simone did a few episodes.
She wrote a few episodes?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I didn't know that.
She did, and yeah, I don't want to go any further than that. Like, there are a couple people, but I don't want to lie to anyone.
Somebody has top secret knowledge.
There it is. It's esoteric. It's okay, Jay. I'm not mad at you, buddy. Like, you don't want to lie to the audience, and I appreciate that.
Right.
But I will say that, this was a very interesting experience for me, just because I am not a My Little Pony fan. I've never been a My Little Pony fan, and I know that this new My Little Pony has a strong fan base that is very like they're passionate, and I want the My Little Pony people. I want the bronies to have whatever they want to have, or I don't know. Do they still call them bronies even though they're women? I don't know.
Yes.
Whatever. Okay.
Generally, bronies.
Okay.
Brony is gender neutral.
Oh, got it. Even though it's bro.
And ableist.
They weren't trying to get Pegasus going for a while, but no one went for it.
Pegasus.
That's true.
Listen.
That is true.
All I'm saying is, whatever they call the fan base, men and women, I want those people. They're passionate, and I want them to have what they want to have. I definitely if you would. Again, you all know me. If you ask me, should My Little Pony and Transformers have a crossover? My gut response is absolutely not. No. It's like no. However, having read this, well, I will say this. Here's my journey. Initially, the very first vignette or whatever, which is the establishing one. That's okay. This is how the Transformers and the My Little Pony universe come together. I'm like, I don't know that I like this, and the main reason, from the very, very beginning, it's they kind of they like a lot of comics do. They put out they have the info page that gives you the character breakdown, and they're like, these are the ponies that you need to worry about, and they tell you who the ponies are, and they give you a brief description of what each pony's deal is. And I'm like, okay, cool, because I don't know jack about these ponies. Then they give the breakdown of the Transformers. And my guy, it literally is like an Autobot, a Decepticon. And I'm like, really? We're not going to tell these people anything about, each one. There's so much history. We're talking about G1 Transformers, right? You could literally, every one of these, even these new people, Gage that was created in 2019 has a Wikipedia page. You know what I'm saying? There's paragraphs about Gage, who was created in 2019. However, Optimus Prime, Bumblebee, all these Transformers that were created in the 80s, they're just an Autobot, a Decepticon. Really? No history for anything? I'm not asking for anything huge. I'm just saying, if you're going to say Bumblebee, you can at least be an Autobot scout. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying small things.
Actually, I didn't notice that because I didn't read that page at all. I just went straight.
Oh no! And I was just so that rubbed me the wrong way from the very beginning, where I'm just oh, we're gonna pretend Transformers don't have no history, huh? Only ponies got history. Okay. Then the art. Tony Fleece is he's the regular artist on My Little Pony. And
not of the ongoing. He does a lot of the one-shots and does a lot of covers.
Okay, I'm sorry. He's the regular cover artist of My Little Pony then. Or
yeah.
Yeah, and so and again, and that's my mistake because I don't read My Little Pony. All I see is the covers. so I thought Tony Fliss was on the inside too. I didn't realize he wasn't. Because all the My Little Pony art that I'm familiar with is Tony Fleece, goddamn.
Yeah, he's
so let me qualify. I apologize for overstepping my pony knowledge once again. Like I said.
No, I agree. I wish Tony Fleece did all the art in the interior because he is really good.
No, and his art is great. And here's the thing.
And he actually does a lot of Transformer art too.
I'm gonna disagree with you on that.
He's not like top tier, but he's decent.
No, I'm gonna disagree with you on that. Like that was my next gripe. I was like, God damn, Tony Fleece can't draw a Transformer. And I'm not saying Transformers are easy to draw, nor am I saying that, like, it's not like they're terrible. Like, I by no means am I saying like, oh, he has no business drawing Transformers. I'm not saying that. What I will say is, I don't know if I would call him like a mid-tier Transformer artist. I feel like, and he can draw. Like, I've seen him draw stuff that's not ponies, and it's some amazing art. Like, he can draw. Like, if Tony Fleece wanted to draw a superhero book, he could totally do that. But it's one of these things where, like drawing. I mean, and I know that most of you here would probably agree with me that drawing robots is like almost a specialty unto itself. Like, almost anyone can draw a robot, but drawing robots well is its own thing. Like, when you're talking about like what's old boy Livio Ramadelli, is that how you say his last name?
I can give you an easier pronunciation, Larry. We've all seen Pat Lee draw Transformers.
No, Pat Lee is another great example. You're right, but I'm just saying Livio is like
for you to say,
huh?
It's easier for you to say.
It is an easier name to say. That is true. But I'm saying Livio is like he still does covers and stuff right now too. He's more current. Even though, like, man, it would be awesome to see Pat Lee draw some stuff again.
I would see Pat Lee drew this. I want to see Pat Lee draw My Little Ponies.
And I'm not, by no means am I asking for, like, I'm not trying to say like, oh, you need hyper realistic or anime mech artists doing My Little Pony art. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that I wanted more of a happy median, which I did end up getting, because after Tony Fleece, the Transformers got awesome. Like the next story that you were talking about, Jay, which is the RC. That is the next story, right? The RC.
Yeah.
That joint was perfect, or not perfect, but good enough. Like I was like, oh, RC looks great, and I was like, it took me a minute because I didn't pay attention to the credits in regards to who was drawing. So I was like, wait, so why does RC look so good? And then I realized, like, oh, it's two different people drawing. And then I was like, oh, okay. So I'm like, is Tony not gonna be drawing any more Transformers, or will? And I'm like, okay, I'm like it turned out that almost every other interpretation of the Transformers outside of this work he did was fine with me. It was definitely a little more cartoony, and it's interesting too, like what Moses said, because he was saying like it would have been great if they did like this as a Netflix special and made it like animated. And the funny thing is, a Transformers animated version of these characters with My Little Pony might have actually worked a lot better, just from an artistic perspective. I know that might not have.
I'm thinking Cash Money, Larry. I'm thinking Cash Money. I'm a stockholder. I that would get more people watching it and would bring more value to this crossover than a comic book that Jay and Raymond read.
Right. What did you just say, Jay?
So I still don't know why they made that girl a robot.
Which girl?
From Transformers Animated.
Oh, you're talking about the actual little girl?
Yeah.
Sorry,
Somedeck.
Yeah. There it is. See? Yeah. Well, hey. Yeah, that's a whole nother thing. But here's the thing. So I was like, okay, so the Transformers art got better. And I'm reading the book, and I'm like, you know what? Like, Mo said it right too, where it apologizes for itself right at the beginning. And it was like, after a certain point, I was like, you know what? This is actually like this is I'm kind of okay with this. Like I was like, you know what? I don't have to worry about if this should be happening or not. It is happening, and we're just having a good time here. But let me tell you where I was like, oh, you committed a mortal sin. And I was like, oh, I don't know if I can come back from this. Do you all remember the rib fur debate?
Yeah.
For those that don't know rib fur is an acronym. RIBFIR. Rumble is blue, frenzy is red. And this is a debate in the Transformers community. Like when you talk, like when it comes to Transformers fans and polite conversation, you don't bring up politics, religion, and rib fur. You don't bring it up.
For rib.
No. There's no fur rib. There's no fur rib. How dare you? You know what? Don't look. You're lucky I don't want to reach for my mouse, or else I'll kick you off right now. But dude, friggin' Soundwave has tapes, and there are 2 tapes in the original Transformers animated series. You have Rumble and Frenzy. Rumble's the blue one, Frenzy's the red one. But in the original toy line, when it came out in America, Rumble's the red one and Frenzy's the blue one. This is Hatfields and McCoys here, okay?
Yeah.
This is friggin' Catholics and Protestants, okay? Like, I'm just saying.
That's the second time this week I hear that reference. It's a theme for 2020.
It is a thing. Like, and so, My Little Pony, this is friggin' Taiwan #1. This is Taiwan and China. Friggin' this fool messed around My Little Pony, Transformers My Little Pony. Soundwave is in one of these books, and he ejected his tapes, and he ejected friggin' Ravage and Ratbat and Laserbeak, these are all tapes that he should release, and then he released Frenzy. And Frenzy's blue, goddammit. And I was just like, oh my god, I can't believe, like, who are these? Like, I felt personally offended because I feel like for all the characterization that they got right through these books, I feel like this doesn't happen until like issue 3, I think.
But you would think, Larry, you don't think that they did that on purpose?
Oh, I absolutely think they did it on purpose. That's what makes it angry. Like, if the characterization was off on all these characters, I could have totally been like, oh man, these guys don't know anything about Transformers. They don't know which one is Rumble, which one is Frenzy. But man, they got all of this characterization pretty much spot on. And then when Frenzy came out and he was blue, I was like, oh, these fools are out here trying to start some trouble. And guess what? I'm here for it. And I wish I had read this when it came out, so I could have been the one. I would have been the release, the Snyder cut of Transformers My Little Pony. Like, god damn it, Frenzy is red. Like, Rumble is blue, Frenzy is red. How dare you do this? Let's burn IDW down.
Some people are behind the blue Frenzy and the red Rumble.
Raymond's gone.
Look, maybe his color is mood dependent.
Oz is gone. I'm done with you. I'm done with all these people. Listen. This is not up for debate, okay? Rumble is blue. Frenzy is red.
You seem way too concerned with color.
It's important.
Oz is gone again. It's like
Larry's colorist.
Rumble is blue. Frenzy is red.
Yes,
look,
in the
next
animated show, but the toy is Rumble is red.
Next, you're gonna tell me the Infinity Stones were the wrong color too.
Welcome to Fantastic Four. This is how the show's supposed to be. Oh, you sons of bitches! Man,
There's some
what'd you say, Jay?
So speaking of Infinity Stones, there's an amazing Endgame reference.
No. You mean Infinity Gems?
I literally said stones on purpose to piss him off.
Well, technically, he's saying stones because it is an end game reference, so it would be stones.
Right.
I don't like your adherence to facts. I don't like it. It's not. Yeah, look, I don't like the way that you go ahead and stick to actuality with this, Raymond. It's like this is where I'm. This is the closest I get to Trumpism. They're always gems. Rumble's always blue. Oh, what's the toy say? The toy, huh?
So after that story, how were you feeling? Like, did you read on after that, right?
I read it on. I didn't want to, but I did. And ultimately, I like it. I like it. I like it. I don't know that I'm not saying that like, oh, I want more of it because I think it's fine the way it is. Like, I don't think we need any more. And I did get confirmation that Tony Fleece doesn't draw Transformers good, like because he drew like the last story again, and I'm like, oh yeah, everything's terrible. Like it was good again, and then it all got terrible again at the end. And you know, and even the vignette style didn't bother me that much, honestly, because it was like one big story. Because you know, basically the whole idea is the Transformers get sucked into this universe. They all get separated. And so there's individual stories that happen where they're like what happens when they're separated, and they all get called back together.
Hold on. Because I have to call you on your BS.
Oh,
because you're saying Rumble is blue, right?
Oz, don't do this.
No. Is Rumble blue or red?
Rumble is blue.
Blue.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Because I typed in Transformer Rumble into Google, and yes, the cartoon version is blue, but there's a lot of toy versions that are red.
Yeah,
he started off with that. Larry started off with that.
He literally said that. Exactly.
He literally didn't explain it right.
I absolutely
explained
it. I explained it just how you said it.
Oz, I can see your point.
Oh, you're a son of a. I hate it. I hate this whole discussion. I hate it all. Okay, continue. All the people that matter are here. Please continue. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Really?
Go ahead.
Listen, what I'm saying is the vignettes didn't bother me because technically it was all one story of just people in with the different parts and stuff, and then it came back together, which, you know, okay, like, you know, like I guess what I'm saying is I prefer this method versus like trying to stretch out a narrative over 4 issues that probably wouldn't have made any sense. This kind of gave everybody an opportunity to shine individually for a little bit, and then they came back together. And yeah, they're like, the story of My Little Pony and Transformers coming together in one world is actually probably only 2 issues long, but we wanted to do 4 issues, so we stretched it a little bit in a way that was like the best possible way. So I'm like, okay, no problem. Like, you know, make your money because you got Pony fans, you got Transformers fans, get it. So I'm like, I'm not mad at them. I'm not mad at them. This is probably the best way this story could happen. Like, let me put it like this. I'm sure I would have. I'm sure I enjoyed this story, or would. I'm sure the level of enjoyment I got from this story is probably higher than probably if I had read, like, say, Ghostbusters Transformers. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure I would be like, oh no, I don't want to read that anymore. Or even some versions, not all versions, but some versions of G.I. Joe Transformers. G.I. Joe Transformers, I feel like fit together a little bit better, but some of those stories aren't good.
Like, you didn't like Infestation, right?
You know what? I didn't actually read it. Yeah, I mean, hey, I don't know what to tell you, man. Like, that was the Hasbro, the IDW Hasbro wide crossover thing, right?
Yeah, everything you like is in it, like Star Trek.
Yeah, no, I don't want to read all that though. I don't want all those, like, all those things don't belong in one place to me. It doesn't even make sense.
But it's
so
just
I'm
like just how this book said. It's just for fun.
No, I get it, but here's the thing: My Little Pony Transformers can be like, let's just have fun, and they will actually just have fun, which is what happened. Transformers, Ghostbusters, My Little Pony, G.I. Joe, Transformers all together, they're going to try to play that straight. And if you try to play that straight, it goes wrong. Because there's no way to that. Like, it doesn't make any sense. There's no way for you to make. All I'm saying is, dude, there's Transformers stories on their own, Star Trek stories on their own, Ghostbusters stories on their own that don't make sense. So you're gonna put them all together, and you're gonna tell me like, oh yeah, it's gonna flow. It's not gonna flow. It's all fan service, and guess what? I don't need fan service. I'm not that dude. I'm not the guy like, oh, it's just awesome that they're all together. Look in Marvel, like these fools are like, what if everybody was a Venom? That's not fun for me. That's not fun for me. I'm like, why would everybody be a Venom?
Like,
you know what?
In my
What's
mind,
funny,
as much as I love Marvel, in my mind, that's dumb.
what's funny is the way this story.
Wait, hold on. Go ahead, Oz.
The way this story opens, like the first 2 pages, is Lawrence reading a crossover comic book,
right,
talking about why it's stupid and they shouldn't cross over.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, everything you're saying right now is the first 2 pages of book 1.
Right.
You are now that pony, which I didn't know there was boy ponies, but I guess there is.
That's technically Patton Oswalt.
That's Patton Oswalt pony? Is that his name?
That's his character.
What's the name though?
Quick Wits, I think.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense for Patton Oswalt.
No, it doesn't.
You don't
Go
like
ahead,
Patton
Mo.
Oswalt has a quick wit?
No.
Okay.
Good. No, comedic genius, yes. Quick wit, Mo, go ahead.
That's the same thing. How you be a comedic
No, it's
genius
not.
but
It's not.
witty?
Because comedy is about timing and delivery, and as
Right.
long as Patton Oswalt has somebody good writing for him, he can be amazing. I wouldn't give him quick witted. Like if I got into an insult match with him, I think I could win.
Who writes for Patton Oswalt?
Patton Oswalt, it turns out.
No, look, I saw a piece of that MODOK series, and no, no.
That's what happens when somebody writes for Patton Oswalt.
Right, exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
If he was quick witted enough, like say, oh fuck, I forgot his name. If he was quick witted, he would ad lib comedy, and he didn't. So Mo, talk about this book. We're still talking about this book. Take two.
I'm too busy defending
Transformers. Patton Oswalt. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I thought you were still trying to defend infestation. I'm like, oh.
I mean, I like Patton Oswalt, and I'll buy 90% of the stuff he does.
Him calling Trump a shithead on Twitter.
No, that's not entertainment though.
I don't know. I'm entertained. Yeah, I guess. I don't know where I was going. I lost my train of thought in terms of the My Little Pony thing. But what I can say is that I was mad at Joe for having to read 4 of these, and I was good with 1. I feel like I got the whole experience from reading 1 vignette, 1 little thing. I didn't feel that there's an overarching story. We kind of touched on that earlier, and I think that an overarching crossover story would have kept me in if it was because at that point, not doing that is a cop out. Because if you give an overarching story, there has to be a payoff, and you people have to actually work. At this point, they could just get away with just putting these 2 characters together.
So you made it through all 4.
I made it about halfway through 3.
Okay, look, that's further than I got because even though no one asked my opinion, I'm gonna give it because I read this goddamn book.
Yeah,
I didn't know you read it. I thought you didn't read it.
I read everything on the list.
Oh,
shut up! Are you serious?
Oh my god.
Why is he acting like he reads everything on the list every week? Why is he saying?
We were doing little side stuff to compensate for the lack of you being here and not having anything to contribute.
I'm here. I'm trying to contribute.
Oh no! Listen, I apologize, Oz. I
I'm over here
underestimated you.
Fi-
What did
fighting
you
the
think of?
internet.
What did you think of Transformers: My Little Pony: Friendship in Disguise, Oz?
Man. No, look. Actually, and I stayed quiet for the most part because a lot of what Mo was saying is kind of what I was gonna say, so I didn't want to just repeat him.
Of course,
because he's more eloquent than I am. But
look.
here's the thing: so I read the first one, and I was interested because it seemed like it was gonna be one story about the Transformers in the My Little Pony universe, and some kind of battle going on. Like that first story was great, and then there was a story where RC, it's Starscream and another pony, and okay, I thought, well, now we're gonna see the individual battles.
Yeah, the pony was actually styling Starscream,
right? And so then we get,
which is like,
and then we get to book 2, and I thought, okay, well, now we're gonna see, I guess, some ponies went to Cybertron. Even they didn't show that, but
right. I agree with you on that. Right. I was like, I don't remember.
At least Spike was there, and so
Spike
and
the Pony Dragon.
Cool story. I'm not gonna knock it. I like that story, but I thought it was part of a single narrative, like a single story throughout these 4 books. And then we get to the second story in that book, where now I'm reading about a talk show. Like it's literally like a cooking, some kind of morning talk show thing. And at that point, I was out. That's it, because that's when I realized, oh, I'm getting short stories here, and they're not. It's not one whole narrative. Each book is going to be separate story. I understand that that's how this goes from start to finish, but honestly, from the book 1, I didn't realize that was happening.
No, but technically speaking, it is a single narrative, which is the messed up part. Because if you get to issue 4,
when I saw a pony doing a cooking show with a transformer, I was out. I'm sure at some point they started fighting, because every other story there was a fight, but at that point I was out, and that's as far as I got. I couldn't.
That was the hottest pony in the whole series.
I don't know what that means.
You know what it means.
I mean, I don't have to keep reading to jerk off.
Listen, I'm not the one on the line with all the Bishojo ponies, so I don't know what that means.
Bishojo ponies? I don't even know what the hell.
Listen, see how everybody got quiet? They're like, oh, look. All the people that might potentially have Bishojo ponies are like, how did he know? How did he know? It got real quiet. It was like, I can see Jack about Bishojo ponies. Anyway, look, that's neither here nor there. If you technically all these stories are part of one narrative. The first part of the first issue is the overarching narrative, and the last part of that narrative gets told in the second story of the 4th issue. So it's like they bookend.
So it's Transformers, My Little Pony, Transformation is Magic, Alpha, and
Omega. Friendship in Disguise.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Not Transformation is Magic, even though I think that is a better subtitle. but no, Friendship in Disguise, goddammit. And so Tony Fleece does the first part, and he does the last part for the art. And all the stories in between are basically like, this is what happened. This is what happened when everybody got separated, and almost at the end of every story, or maybe not the end of every story, but basically the idea is by the time you get to like the latter parts, everybody's getting called back to come fight, and they all end up coming back together in the second story of issue 4 to come fight. Because the overarching story is Megatron is trying to figure out how to harness the magic in it's not
He's trying to make
Estonia.
magical energon.
No, right. No. I'm trying to figure out what the name of the place is. I'm like, Estonia is a real place.
Equestria.
Equestria. And here's another thing I'll give them props for. They put Equestria in the first issue. They did Equestria, and it was in the Transformers font.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, you know what? I'll give them props for that. And then they did Cybertron, and it was in the My Little Pony font. There was like a little heart in the O in Cybertron, and I was like, I did not realize I was going to ever see that. I was like, I'm not saying I want to see it again, but I'll give them props for the fact they did it. But here's the thing, like, and this is how, again, this is another part where I was like, damn, Tony Fleece doesn't draw Transformers right. There was a point where, like, Shockwave is, like, on the computer console typing stuff. And Shockwave, for those that don't know Shockwave, he's a character that turns into a gun, similar to Megatron. And he has one hand that's like a hand, and he has another hand that's like a gun. It's like a little pointy thing like this. And so Shockwave is using the computer. And instead of Tony Fleece, like, you know, being like, okay, well, Shockwave has a one pointy thing, like it's not a hook, it's a pointy thing.
It's a barrel.
A barrel, right. It's a barrel of a gun. And instead of him like being like, okay, he has one hand that he's typing with and another hand that he kind of pecks, Tony Fleece drew it like he has a hand and the barrel friggin' bends to type. Like it's one finger. And I'm like, oh, Tony Fleece, you son of a bitch. Like, I'll never forgive you for that, Tony Fleece.
It's weird because
I'll never forgive you for that.
I made excuses in the art for that reason, because it's like, oh, they came into this reality and they're part of this reality now. But then I read Crossover, and it literally shows you what somebody from a comic book reality coming to a real reality would look like to them. And it's like, oh, that's no excuse.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like, I was like, dude, like you did not have to do this, Tony Fleece. But anyway, that's neither here or there. What I will say is, technically, there's an overarching narrative, but it was done in a way where it's like, okay, this is probably the only way that makes sense to have like this overarching narrative and still have like a number of different issues and a number of different stories. You get to feature particular characters. Like they did the best that I think they could, but again, that's all one opinion. So hopefully Oz will come back, because I do want to go ahead and ask everybody what they're like, how they would rate this series. So let's start with you, Ray. What would you rate Transformers, My Little Pony, Friendship in Disguise, number 1 through 4 as a series, on a scale from 1 to 5? I mean, 1 to 5. Yeah. What are the little symbols on the ponies called, Ray?
Cutie marks.
Cutie marks. There you go. Look, Raymond knows what I'm talking about. How many cutie marks out of 5 would you give this joint?
I'd give this 3.5.
3.5 cutie marks out of 5.
I think it could have been a bit better, but I could see them trying to make it. Like I said, I wish there was a more concrete story, but I understand the vignette thing, because they're like, I think people are going to buy this out of sheer curiosity.
Right.
We need to make this more accessible. So
Got it.
I do think it's good. I'm happy it happened. That's a solid 3.5 for me.
Solid 3.5 cutie marks out of 5. Moses Magnum. I'm sorry. Moses Stallion. How many cutie marks out of 5 would you give this?
I would give it about 3. I'm not going to say I didn't enjoy reading it, even with, the issues we had with Transformers and stuff like that. But, Larry, most of them were your issues. I as long as they didn't fuck with Beast Wars, I'm good, So, but it's just as a fun little book. Again, I'm okay with it. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the cooking show. Oz didn't like the cooking show. I thought that one, I was like, oh, that's an interesting thing to throw into this whole thing,
Yeah.
Because you're just getting a sense of Transformers in that world. It's not like, the ponies in Cybertron. It's more from that perspective, because that was the catalyst to bring them over. So I was okay with that cooking show, and yeah, that pony was the hottest one, so I'm in, but yeah,
3 cutie marks out of 5.
Three inverted cross cutie marks. I'm just, it might be annoying that I keep putting this picture up, but Oz
Who's
paid.
annoyed by it?
I don't know, maybe the audience, but it's Oz paid for that to be done, so I'm getting his money's worth. Like
there it is. I love it. Like
yeah.
if Moses Magnum was a pony,
Yeah,
he'd be that.
that's exactly what it was. And if you see, I Oz can tell you that year at Comic Con, I was melting edibles into my whiskey all day long, and the artist captured that in my eyes. And
Hilarious.
the blood on the unicorn horn was all his artistic interpretation. I don't know how he knew I would enjoy that.
What happened to Oz? Damn, I was gonna come to him next. He dipped out. That's fair.
Yeah.
Jay, we're gonna have to go to you, buddy. How many cutie marks out of 5 would you give this bad boy?
I would give it a 4.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there were 2 stories that I thought were kind of weak, but otherwise, I liked it overall. Like, there's some cool shit in there. Like, I love the in-game reference with the Apple family. I love Spike in the exosuit. Like, there's just a lot of cool shit in there.
There was Spike did come in the exosuit, and it's so funny because I'm actually just getting that reference now.
Really?
It did because I don't think of that character as Spike, but now that damn, it was Spike in the exosuit. That's hilarious.
But they call it out in the book. Because Bumblebee's like, who's in there?
I know, but it's still this weird little dragon thing, and I'm not making that connection until just now. So
a little bonus for you, Larry, and all you good people listening. I know we're approaching the tight 2. But there is a lot of Transformers pony fan art on Instagram with the hashtag. So one of the things I saw was like these like badass unicorns that transform into nothing. They just look like they have fenders. And
they transform into nothing. I love it.
They don't. I mean,
it's got wheels on them. Unicorns with wheels.
Exactly. Yeah, a lot of people get creative with just that. You know, like I would want to see some fan art that animates the transformation with the sound, but we'll see.
That's another thing I would have to give this comic some props for, like for trying to do the actual onomatopoeia for the Transformer sound. And I was like, I don't know if that's quite it, but that's probably the closest I've ever seen, right? Like Transformers. I feel like Transformers comics don't even try.
Yeah,
they're just like they're like, you know what it sounds like, and it's like, you're right. I know what it sounds like. I hear it in my head.
How did I do with the vocalizing of it? Was that okay?
It was like.
It was like Jason coming after you in the dark. Is that what?
Like, listen, if I was a better producer, I would have had the actual like page up so you could see how they spelled it out. Yeah. But it's basically like TCH, like TCHEE TCHH. Like it's a weird thing. Like that you can't. It's such an iconic sound that you hear it. You can't even write it out.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like I'm saying. Like it's crazy. So I don't know. Oz, how many cutie marks out of 5 would you give Transformers: My Little Pony, Friendship in Disguise?
I guess 4 if you like Transformers or My Little Pony, especially if you like My Little Pony, because it's really more My Little Pony story than it is a Transformers.
I would agree with that. So
I was just telling them the story, Oz, when you paid for somebody to draw me as a pony.
I kind of had to. The moment he said that was an option, it's like it's not an option. It's a necessity at that point.
Stallion.
And he said I have to hang it at the barbershop, and it's hanging at the barbershop.
There it is. I give this joint. I think I have to give it at least 3.5, maybe even 4. Not because like it's not a book that I want to read, but since I did read it, I would have told you that I was gonna like really dislike this book, and it turned out that I actually enjoyed reading it. I don't think they should make it anymore. But
I'd take more.
Right. Well, hey, and there it is. It's like, and who knows? I don't think they should make any more, but if they do make more, I might be pleasantly surprised again. So, I don't know. I guess I'll fall in the middle. I'll give it a 3.75. How about that? 3.75 cutie marks out of 5. Yeah, it's more fun than it probably has any business being. And yes, I am a Patton Oswalt pony, or I feel like Patton Oswalt pony. Quick wit, you said?
Yeah.
I feel like quick wit. All right.
Fun fact. Trivia. The pony Mo keeps saying is the hottest is actually dating the Weird Al pony.
Wait, what is the Weird Al pony?
Oh, there's a
They're
Weird Al
actually
pony?
married and have a kid.
I'm sorry. What?
Wait,
In the show, they're married and have a kid.
See, Raymond, you're going. Wait, see how.
And the Weird Al pony is Cheese Sandwich. That's his name.
See,
right.
in classic geek fashion, he's totally like, sir. He left us in the dust. It's like, go slow. What's the Weird Al pony?
Cheese Sandwich.
Cheese Sandwich, and he's a party planner.
Why is he a Weird Al pony?
Because he's voiced by Weird Al.
By Weird Al.
Oh, well, listen, I don't know that. It could just be a pony that's like patterned after Weird Al.
Yeah, he might have a curly mane.
Right. Does he look like Weird Al?
And then after 20 years, didn't have a mustache.
Look, you're saying this to us like we know. I don't know. Weird Al pony wasn't in the Transformers crossover.
Well, I don't see where they would fit him in.
Listen, all I'm saying is
he could have been jealous of that other Transformer that was moving in on that Martha Stewart pony.
Yeah, they were. Wait, is the one with RC?
Wait,
the cute pony?
Hold on.
Rarity. No. He's talking about Pinkie Pie.
The Weird Al pony's name is Cheese Sandwich.
Yeah,
he literally just said that.
Like, why is it
the show? Or are you
watch the show? Even while
he's on a delay.
Why is it Cheese Sandwich?
Apparently they talked to Weird Al about it, and it's cheese sandwich because he's a vegetarian, and the cutie mark is a grilled cheese sandwich, but like cut in half with the cheese stringing in the middle, so it kind of looks like an accordion. So that's why they did that.
If Pinkie Pie is not available, then I'm out.
Wow. That's 2 out of 5.
Ironically enough, this would not be the first time that Oz was trying to have sex with a horse.
Unsuccessful.
That's why he's in Illinois.
Are we saying unsuccessfully?
We're saying we're moving on to the next topic.
Type 2. Type 2's way past.
Can we talk about the one you feed next?
Yeah.
All right. About that. Let's go on to review the one you feed. Moses Magnum. Let's talk about it.
The one you feed is a Panel Syndicate comic. Panel Syndicate is started by Marcos Martin and Brian K. Vaughan, and it's a website where you can buy comics, digital comics, without having to get it through Amazon or anything else. We talked about last week where Amazon can just arbitrarily just take things away from you. Panel Syndicate doesn't do that. You pay whatever the fuck you want for each issue, and they'll give it to you, and it's yours as long as your hard drive's working. I don't know if they have anything you can log in and get it out again. I haven't tried. Everything I've had, I have on every device because I could just make unlimited copies of it, and I can give you guys unlimited copies so you guys can read it and have it too. That goes to the guys on the screen, not you, the audience. You guys pay for it. But yeah, so we reviewed some stuff from them before. The Private Detective was one that I enjoyed. There was a young adult book that Ed Brubaker did. They're actually expanded during quarantine and got talent to do it besides Brian K. Vaughan and Marcus Martin. and this one is Donny Cates, which is an up and coming guy that I've never really heard of.
You are so crazy.
He is one of these modern writers that is like really resonating with a lot of people across different types of books. He does a lot of work with Marvel. I think he's responsible for everything being Venom too, by the way.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe I'll buy into that. I don't think I can. I don't like. I don't like it. I just don't. But I'm an old fuck. I've been reading comics for a long time, and I'm an old fuck, and I don't like change, and I like my comics being the same. But that being said, he brings The One You Feed, and it gives you the story about this kid that hears this old story about a wolf living inside him, and he tells his grandfather which one wins, the bad one or the good one, and he says the one you feed. Anecdote, you've seen it on every Facebook pop-up motivational little thing, and then here it takes it to another level where it turns out people actually turn into these monsters at night, and it turns out it has nothing to do with feeding the wolf inside you so far. And this kid gets thrown into this world where when the night comes, you turn into a monster, you ravage everything, everybody dies, and the few that survive get to live another day. The society progressed from then, created a city where the sun never sets. And the book tells you, don't ask me how they do it. The book tells you, you got to buy the book and read that for that. But as a rite of passage, this young boy that is destined to be king has to go out into the wilderness. And the twist is that he's the only person in this world that doesn't turn into a monster at night. So he has to survive that to be the rightful king when he comes back the next day. And that's the first issue. So I paid $5 for it. You can pay, I think, I don't think they have a minimum for it. I know if you paid attention to the Heavy Metal Minute, there was System of the Down song. That's the first song they put out in 15 years. That one was optional from 2 and above. The minimum was $2. And it was for a good cause, but you'll have to listen to Fraction of Forever for that. But this one I don't believe had a minimum, so you can actually just put 0. As long as you put 0, you'll get it. I know I did it once because I forgot to download it after I bought it, so I rebought it again for 0. I paid $5 and then 0 to get the download link, and so I bought it twice for $5. But you can get it for free. You just have to get it from Panel Syndicate, and I don't know. I guess from reading crossover, I guess it'll eventually come to print on Image, and that's how they'll make extra money on it if you want the print one too. But I bought the digital one, and I got it for these guys too. So what did you guys think about it?
Oz, what did you think of the one you feed, Oz?
I liked it. It was interesting, and then that whole, because the fact that he doesn't turn into a monster is kind of a twist towards the end. And he doesn't find that out until he's faced with fighting monsters, because he's supposed to go out, become a monster, and fight the other monsters with this gigantic sword, and it just doesn't happen. And that's where it cuts out. So it really made me want to read what happens next. I probably won't, but it made me want to.
Well, it made you want to, but why won't you actually follow through with that want, you think?
I don't know. I honestly don't know, because I the art was fine, the writing is fine. This new guy, Cates, I guess, knows what he's doing.
You're so silly with this.
But I don't know. It's something like maybe at some point I'll pick up the trade, and just have it all at once. It's something that if I see the trade, I'll probably pick it up. As far as keeping up with the books monthly, probably not, just because I don't know.
And this book came out did it come out September or it came out October? You remember, Moses?
No, I think it came out October.
October. Okay, yeah.
I bought it. Yeah, I think it came out October, right before. Because I bought it about 3 weeks ago. I've been trying to do it and get it in for a while, and I actually have 2 other books that we haven't been able to get to. So I don't know if we'll like maybe subscribe, hit the bell, hit the like button.
There it is.
We might get to those in some weekly content, or I could just say fuck y'all and we'll put it on Patreon. We'll do all the one shots on Patreon. We haven't had that meeting yet, Larry and Raymond.
Yeah, Raymond, how dare you? And of course, Raymond, I don't know if you got to read this book or not, but you know, if you did, feel free to chime in. If you didn't, feel free to ask questions if you have any, or you can just hang out. Either way is fine. Like, you know, you're not taking up any space, so you're good. You know, I will also say, you know, for those of you watching and you're like, I know some of you are in on the joke in regards to this new guy, Donnie Cates, but you know, the rest of the forum is actually being facetious, of course, because Donnie Cates is like friggin' everything Venom for the last, what is that, 2-3 years. Him and Ryan Stegman have been like killing it on the side of Venom. He wrote the latest Thor run, which, you know, the first like 6 issues of that were like fire. And everybody
so he's the one working with Tom Hardy?
What?
Tom Hardy's Venom?
No? Oh, boo.
No,
the messed up part was I thought he was talking about like a wrestler. I was like, wait, what? I don't know what you like. It didn't even occur to me we're talking about like Venom. Yeah, but anyway, and then of course,
he created that dude. What's the
Null?
Yeah, Canol. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
no, I can't. Oh, no. That's a whole nother show. That's a whole nother show.
Are you not? Do you dislike Null Oz? Have you read any of that?
I've read some of it.
Oh, well, you're better than me. I haven't read any of it.
Yeah, we reviewed the Canol, where Canol came out for the first. That we reviewed that on the show. I want to say about 3 years ago.
Was I not there?
No, you were there. It's on the archive. It's in the archive. You can, you know, if you go to Podbean, you can find everything at Fantastic Forum Live. You'll subscribe to Apple, Spotify, Pandora, wherever, Castro, Castbox, wherever you get your podcast, and just go back. There, we have an episode reviewing when Canol came out. Like,
God of the Symbiotes.
Yeah.
But that whole like storyline is getting ready to like conclude and pay off in the whole King in Black Marvel event that's coming up. Huh?
If you say so.
Well, no, I mean, I'm honestly, I'm not saying so myself. I'm just telling you what the events like. I haven't read any of it. I don't even remember reading the thing that you all are talking about. If I did read it, but no, like I've actually like kind of, I won't say actively staying away from it, but it wasn't an interesting thing to me. Like the whole, like again, and I said earlier, like, what if everybody was a Venom? Like that's not a thing for me. That I'm like, oh, like if everyone had a Venom symbiote, isn't the kind of storyline that I'm interested in. It feels like very like pedestrian, but people liked it and it sold a lot of issues. Absolute Carnage was a huge crossover thing that happened in the Spider-Man books, and people loved it. And Venom Island, right? They did a Venom Island. That was all him too, I think, right? I don't know.
I stayed away from it. I don't see. I mean, listen to the Canol review. Like, I don't see why Canol would have a spider emblem like that. Yeah.
Supposedly, it's not a spider. I don't think. It's supposed to be a dragon.
Oh, so it's like S means hope. Is that? It's like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Honestly, the best Canol story doesn't have Canol in it. I forget the name of it, but I read a little section of it, and it takes place in a whole nother universe where home dude actually shot himself in the church. It is his girlfriend that got the Venom symbiote. And that's I gotta find the name of that story because I just like picked up a random book and that's what it was, and it was a much more interesting story than Canol. Even though it had a Canol in it, I guess.
So King in Black is supposed to happen, and of course, we're reviewing this book. and then we're gonna review crossover next. So Donny Cates is having like a huge like few years in comics. So
I
but
mean,
that's the joke.
that's. I mean,
He closed out.
That's your opinion.
It's not my opinion. I mean, he's having a huge year, whether the books are good or not. It's like
the people
they're
paying
selling.
It's a decade of Cates.
Oh, Cates. I'm sorry. I just said Coates and not Cates. I'm sorry. Yeah. Coates is a different guy. Cates. I'm sorry. Donny Cates is having a huge few years in comics.
Coates isn't having a huge year.
No. Coates. Yeah, Coates is having a different kind of year. You're correct. So anyway, the one you feed, Jay. What'd you think of this book?
Conceptually, I like it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I wasn't really feeling the actual story.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not necessarily that I wasn't feeling it, but it feels like not a lot happens in the story.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I hate to say, like, it should have been a number 0.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it felt like to me.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I don't know. Like, honestly, if it weren't for the artwork, I probably wouldn't be on board. Well, I don't know. Like I said, I do like the concept.
Mm-hmm.
And I like the art. Like, I don't like that it's not on Comixology. It's like an image book.
I mean, but it's on Panel Syndicate, right? That's why it's not on Comixology.
Which is even easier than Comixology.
Yeah, like you could pay less than Comixology.
I'm sorry.
Where for, like, I don't want to have to go a ton of different places. Like, I want one place if I can.
It's literally all on your phone.
No, but you have to understand, Jay is the rare exception where he's like, Jay would rather pay money and go to the same place than go one extra place for free.
Yes,
it's crazy.
Like, when you buy digital, like, that's the beauty of it too, where it's all in a cloud, so you can just grab it on any device.
Like, Jay, for Jay, like getting in your car and going to a second location and opening an additional tab, same thing. For Jay, like he's like that as far as he's concerned, that's the same distance and the same effort. which is weird. I'm not saying that's normal. It blows my mind too, but that is Jay.
Yeah, I get that it's strange, but it's just kind of how I am. Like, it's something I've learned to live with. You make fun of me, you're an ableist.
Exactly. But I will say this, which, say what you want to say about Jay. I felt basically the exact same way he did about this book. Not to say that, again, I thought the concept was good and it did some world building, and I'm interested in what happens next. But this issue, like, in my opinion, where it ended should have been the middle of the book. And we should have gotten like a little bit more, because especially from the perspective of I guess from someone like myself reading stories, I'm like, okay, I knew that was going to happen. So it didn't feel like a cliffhanger to me. It felt like, where's the rest of my book? And I understand, like, I mean, it's a 22-page book. Like, it's the normal size of a comic book. It's not so much like in my mind where I was like, oh man, this book, I wish I had like another, I wish it was 35 pages. I don't feel that way. Like, I don't feel like, oh, it should have been oversized. I feel like the economy of the storytelling wasn't done properly. Like, this was supposed to be like the middle to 3/4 of this 22-page book. And then I get like a little bit extra, and you give me like the next logical cliffhanger that I wouldn't have suspected. And especially, coming from a guy where I'm like, I know the guy can write. So I don't know. It just felt like he took the easy way out a little bit. And so, yeah, it's not a bad book though. And like Oz said, like I would read issue 2. Like in fact, I'm sure I'll read the next issue. However, I feel like they could have given me like a better cliffhanger than what they gave. Like even honestly, it probably could have been like what happens in the next story beat. Like not even like scenes away, but like okay, he doesn't transform. Got it. He has to fight these things anyway. So he's gonna try, because he has no choice but to at least try. So what happens when he tries to fight these things, and what precarious situation is it that he's gonna be in? Even that might have been enough for me to be like, oh, okay, like I feel like I got like the story ended where it was supposed to end. But now I'm kind of like, oh, like I mean, yeah, okay. Like I think, I feel like half of us that read this book probably knew that this story beat was going to happen, so that means it's the wrong place to end the book. Outside of that, I found it pretty good. So yeah. So Mo, what was some of the high points, or what is it that you liked about it that kind of made it like, okay, yeah, this is like a cool thing?
Well, in finally reading Donny Cates' work, I can see a style, and I like his style. I saw it in crossover, and I saw it in this. You can see there's a thumbprint of who is doing this. And when you look at crossover, we'll get to that in a little bit. And this does feel like a little more of an expedited way of doing that story, like trying to get something out on Panel Syndicate. But it also did feel like there was some thought into it. In terms like, yeah, this was probably half the issue, half of what you would have thought you would have had. You got half, but you didn't pay $5.99 for a white cover,
right?
So it's okay. And at this point, it's more about when am I getting issue 2?
Yeah,
If it's gonna take 3 months, then I'm out. But if I can get an email from Panel, hey, you bought this one, want to check out it for possibly 0 cents? I'm not going to give them 0 cents, but that's the selling point right there. You technically don't have to pay anything for it. You're going to get a good, and if they can manage from a business standpoint, if they can manage to get me in, remind me that issue 2 coming out, I'm in. I want issue 2. I got excited when I saw the ad for it at the back of crossover, because I can be like, okay, at the very least, I'm gonna get a print issue. So even if I don't remember to get issue 2, like I can pop into the comic shop and like it might be there.
Right. And I think you're right, Mo, where it's like the fact that it was a Panel Syndicate comic book might very well feed into like how it was formatted and whatnot, just because you're right. Like you're not guaranteed any kind of income from this per se. On top of that, the dude is writing like 4 other books.
Right.
So it's like, like, it might be more than 4, but let's just say it's 4 other books. And it's like, the fact that he even just got another book out is probably a testament in and of itself. And it's not like it's a poor quality book. Maybe it's just not as good as some of the stuff that you're going to definitely be paying for. And if you put it in that perspective, it's like, I don't know if I'm that mad at it. Like, I wasn't that mad at it from beforehand, where I was just more so thinking like, oh, well, this seems like not the right point to end the book, but I would still read issue 2 because the story engaged me enough that I want to know what happens next.
I wouldn't be surprised if we get a print version of issue 1 on Image and have it be expanded.
That could happen too. Right. Yeah, maybe it is 35 pages.
It would be a good way to market it, because for me, I like the art. I like the design, the art style. I like the design of the king, the design of the prince, that sword. It's like, I looked at it like, why is that sword so big? I was like, well, he's going to transform. He's going to wield it easier. And then he doesn't, and he's like, he's just stuck with a big ass sword against a bunch of monsters. So that intrigued me, and the sensibility that I get from being the Donny Cates expert that I am, reading only 2 books of his, is that he writes from what he likes to see from when he was a child reading comics. He's like, oh, maybe
Right.
be kind of cool. And I can get that now from reading these. I can understand everybody has a Venom thing, and I can see that's part of his charm.
Right.
I haven't read enough to know when does that shit get old, because
Right.
I know even, I'm not even gonna. This is me talking about crossover. I'm gonna talk about it later. Remind me this point, Larry. You're the producer. Remind me this.
I'll remind you of this point.
It does seem like the way he writes comics is from his childhood wonder in reading comics.
Yeah.
And this the one you feed is like from a child's perspective. It's a coming of age story, and that you don't get to see because it finishes where it finishes. But it's really about him becoming a man.
Yeah.
I can tell that already, and that's going to be a way more interesting story. So wherever it ended, or whatever, if you don't feel this book was enough, look, I defy you to not enjoy this product.
Yeah, and I will say that just to kind of juxtaposition, like, and this is more about, I guess, what I know about the kind of stories he can tell, even in just this book. Like in this book, he starts off and he lays this concept on you in regards to the idea that people are becoming monsters at a certain point, and that by itself, like a lot of people would have had that concept and told that story basically from that standpoint, where they're like, what happens if people become monsters and everybody has to kind of deal with that reality or whatever? And they would have told it from that moment when it first happens. This book doesn't do that. This book introduces you to that concept and then jumps forward in just a few panels from that moment to like a year later to 5 years later to friggin' 10 years later, all the way till 150 years or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And that by itself is kind of like, oh wow, like somebody else probably would have told me this story from that point and just kind of been like, oh, look, this is going to be interesting. But there's a part of it that's like, you can still tell that story later if you want to, but it's interesting that you jump 150 years into the future in regards to like what a society that has to deal with that concept evolves into. And that's like not necessarily, like, I feel like most people, I know for me, I thought we were going to talk about this initial story and we didn't. And that subverted my expectations. And that was great for me. It was interesting because I felt like that actually kind of is a more interesting story about, what happens, what does a society that has to deal with that evolve into? And it, like, I'm like, oh wow, they have the society, they have a king. Like that's something that, like I didn't know they were gonna have a king. That's cool, And now we're dealing with this prince and all this kind of stuff. And so I guess I kind of felt like I was gonna get the same subversion of my expectations by the end of the issue. And when it doesn't happen, I'm like, oh, like I guess we'll figure it out later. Which I'm sure, like I said, the next story beat's gonna do that. But it would have been nice to have like the cliffhanger and the thing that's my hook be like, oh, they subverted my expectations once again in this book, So yeah. But anyway, what else? Does anybody have anything else they want to add or talk about? I know we did kind of touch on the art, and I would agree with you all. The art's really good too. But anybody else got anything they want to say specifically about this book, or should we go ahead and rate it? All right.
Me of Attack on Titan.
Yes, I can see that comparison. You got a walled city and all types of shenanigans happening outside of it. Yeah, I can definitely see that comparison. So, Oz, what would you rate the one you feed?
I'll give it a 4. like the way issue 1 ended made me want to read issue 2, but only because I assume that the monsters outside of this city are people during the day. So I assume that the next books are going to explore. They're going to be this kid exploring what their life is like outside of the wall,
Mm-hmm.
and that because that's something that I really like was questioning. I want to know more about that.
Right.
I'm trusting this up and comer, Mr. Cates, whatever. I'm trusting him that he'll expand on that a little bit more.
Got it. What about you, Jay? What would you rate it?
I don't know. Like, the execution was off, but I do like the concept and I do like the art. Like, I kind of want to give it a 4, but I feel like because they failed or because the execution, the way it was done, this should probably only get like a 3.
That's fair. So I know for myself, like I said, I kind of agree with you, Jay. I don't know if I would go so far as say it failed in the execution, but I just feel like it could. But I do think they could have executed better. So maybe I feel a little bit better. So yeah, I think maybe a 3.5. Maybe 3 3/4 like the ponies. Because it's like it's a good book, and it's like I feel like if this was your first comic, I don't know that you would be like, oh man, I don't know if I like comic books. I think you would, I think you would like it. So this would help you read more comics. So yeah, it's good stuff. So yeah, I'm gonna give it 3 3/4 out of 5. Most Magnum, what would you rate the one you feed, number 1?
I'll give it a good 4. I love Panel Syndicate distribution model, and
Yeah.
I wish their marketing was better. If they're looking for an investor, I'd be happy. I'd take my money out of IDW Media Holdings and put it there. But I don't think their whole business model is based on the fact that they don't need investors. You know what I mean? But I when it comes to buying, like, there's books I haven't reviewed because I've gotten kind of like this. Some physical. And when it comes to giving you a quality product, they did it, and this is one of them. So I can't give it less than a 4. I like the art. I like the art design, character design. I like the monster design, and if I can see this going in a place that I'm going to enjoy. So 4, easily a 4, only based on the fact that I don't know any more of it.
Good stuff. All right. Let's talk about crossover. Crossover number 1. Another Donny Cates book. This is out of Image. And it's basically it was billed as a book that is about like a line wide. What if a line wide superhero crossover from a comic book spilled into the real world? What would that be like, and how would the people that live in the real world, like a world like our own, how would they react if that actually ended up happening amongst them or amidst them? And that's like I said, that's what the book is billed like. When you pick the book up and you read it, it subverts your expectations a little bit and tells you it's not actually about that. it's about like that does happen. However, that's not really what the book's about, it says. And it kind of goes into a bit of what it's like to be a fictional character in a real world. And I mean,
that might not even be what it's like.
Yeah, and exactly, like this is like what it kind of teases you with in the first issue, And who knows if that's exactly what it's about, because the book kind of tells you like, hey man, like this is what you see, but this isn't really what the story ultimately is about. And so it's an interesting book. I will say that, we were just talking about subversion of expectations, and I feel like Crossover is a book that definitely does that. But
That's the
forget
best
what I think. What do
description
you
of
think?
this.
Say it
That
again,
is the
Al?
best description of this book. That's the best description of this book. It subverts your expectations because as I was reading it, it reminded me of the first Transformers movie where there's this amazing robot battle going on and the camera is on Witwicky the whole time, like just running. And I'm missing the good stuff. It's just this hack up and coming rookie guy Coates, whatever. Who knows what this guy's name is? I don't think he's getting very far. It bugged. There was a lot of things that bugged me about this book.
Okay.
Story wise, it's not a horrible story. I didn't hate the story, other than the fact that it's not the story I wanted to read. There was a much more interesting thing going on in the background, and then it bugged me that, like, I've been to a lot of comic book shops in my lifetime. Never once have the employees at a comic book shop been in full costume if it's not Halloween. So it bugged me that the main character works at a comic book shop and apparently shows up in costume every day. Like, that's
she's
thing.
making a statement.
And she might be pretending her identity. That's the way I took it. I was like, maybe she's like, I don't want people to know I work in this shop when I'm not working at this shop, because apparently comics are the devil, which is interesting take in and of itself, because there was a point where comics were the devil.
Yeah, I remember my mom telling me comics were the devil. That was fun.
Mm-hmm. And I can't say that my mom ever told me that, but I do know other people felt that way.
Yeah.
And so,
they told me that when I was reading Spider-Man, and then I put up with Spawn. And then, Spawn really, like, my mom. I'm gonna have her call into the show one day, because I think she shit herself when I came home with Spawn #1.
Yeah. No, I do feel like my grandma actually did like ask me about Spawn as well. Because she one of the covers like had the devil on it or something that looked like the devil, and she asked me about it.
That's powered by the devil.
Yeah. And it's one of those things where I'm like, I don't like to my family or much anybody. but the fact is, like if my grandma asked me, why does it look like that, or is that the devil? And I'm gonna tell her, yeah, I mean, it's not the devil, but it's like a devil. And she was like, being an old school Catholic, she was not happy about that at all.
That's probably one of your best qualities, Larry, but also one of your flaws.
Yeah.
You don't want to offend somebody, but ultimately, being offended is their responsibility, not yours. Yeah.
I mean, it is what it is. But it's interesting though, the odds that your take on it, because I can understand where you're coming from. I didn't feel the same way, but I understand the sentiment. What did you think, Jay?
I thought conceptually it was kind of interesting, but I was just not feeling the way they pulled it off. Like, I was not really drawn into it, and there's something about the narrative that I don't like. Like, I don't know, the narrative just bugs me. It's like they're setting up the world, and then they're drawing attention to these characters, and then they're giving you a situation, and there's just something about the way it all goes down that I'm not feeling. Like, and mentally, I think I am interested.
Yeah.
But I'm not really. Yeah, it just, I don't care. Like, I should care. I know I should care because it sounds interesting, but I just kind of don't.
I mean, it sounds to me like you're saying like Kate's is kind of going like 0 for 2 when it comes to execution, and it's like you having a similar thought process, unless I'm wrong, with Oz, where you're like, it's not that like the world is interesting enough, and it's not even like you're saying you're not necessarily interested in this part of the story they chose to tell in issue 1. It's just that you kind of wanted a little bit more of maybe what it seemed like the story was going to be about.
No,
Is that right?
no.
Okay, correct me.
If you want to say like, okay, everything is happening in this dome, and like, I don't really have a problem with that.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get to the, what do they call them? The fake.
Oh, no, they're not called fake. It's is it wait, what you remember what it is, Mo? What they call them?
They call them fake, like because they're comic book people. They're not
They
real.
call them fakes?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
They don't
Jay.
call them that, like that's the name designated to them, but they do refer to them as fake.
No, there's like a slur.
The slur.
Yeah, there's like a slur that they call them. It's not fictions. You know what? I got the book right here. I'll look it up real quick. But continue, Jay.
Okay. But yeah, it's like if she's what the story is going to revolve around, then give me give me her. Like, I kind of don't even feel like it feels like they're giving me information and I'm not seeing how it's relevant. And I can ignore the dome because you're bringing attention to the fake, but you're just not giving me enough. Like, okay, this is going to be an issue. Tell me about it. Like, and they just don't. They just kind of let you know that it's wrong and that she shouldn't be here. And then she draws Superman. And to be honest, that also is just kind of distracting. Like, I don't feel like they're going to have all these known characters in it. So,
well, I mean, it's an IDW book, so no, they're not. And I think that bugged me too. Is that they're implying that Superman has something to do with this kid, and I know it's not going to be Superman.
Well, I feel like that's an interesting point of contention. Two things, real quick. Hold on. Hold on 1 second. Jay, you were right. They are actually called fakes, and a fake, and that is exactly what they're called. And Mo, you go ahead and say what you're going to say, and tell us your opinion of the book too.
Well, I lost where I was going to go, but the thing about it is Superman being in it doesn't like. I like that the fact that it's not about the dome. Like when it's subverted that, I'm like, oh my god, this got more interesting. It's a love story between this abortion clinic arsonist guy and this person that's just doing their job, trying to make money with something they enjoy. And then this girl, all of a sudden, this girl's kind of going to bring them together. I want to see this. You know, I watched the movie. I forget what it was called, but it was a kaiju movie. That it was really just about a girl that watches the kaiju thing happen in Korea. You know, and
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and that was a great movie too. And it was like the fight and the conflict was just as big as the kaiju fight, but it was just this girl dealing with shit in her life. And I'm like, man, I like this kind of reminded me of that. And I'm like, you know, when I talked earlier about Donny Cates kind of writing comics from a childhood sensibility, like this is the exact thought I would have had. Like, what if heroes came here? What would they look like? You know? And just that girl looking with the dots on their face, like I'm like, wow, they did that in comics. They don't have to do that. You know, something like Into the Spider-Verse, you kind of have to differentiate, but in comics, you don't. It works, and it was the perfect time to do it. And having it not be about the dome, I think, is a lot more interesting than having another summer event that's just gonna not change anything. Because the nature of summer events is like shit, oh shit, status quo's changing. But by winter, when you gotta sell the toys that match your product line, everything goes back to normal. You know?
Yeah.
So the fact that it's about the people around it is a lot better than the actual heroes. And Superman not being a part of it, like that's just the goal anyway. Like they're gonna try to get that girl reunited with Superman, and they don't ever have to because guess what? It could end tragically.
See, and it's interesting that you say it like that because, well, I'll say two things. One, I do feel like it's interesting that it doesn't tell you like the dome story right off the bat, but there's a part of me that feels like they probably will get to the dome. It's just not going to start there because the fake is probably going to need to go back. And the story very well might be about these two, like, you know, this same love story that Moses is talking about, this kind of Romeo and Juliet kind of thing, these two people coming together along with this fake, trying to get back into that dome and what that means and how that goes about. And then the other thing I'll say is in regards to Superman, where you're like, hey, it's not going to be Superman. And it's like, there's a part of me that is like, I'm right there with you in the sense like, okay, it can't be Superman because that's this company's stuff and they're not going to sign off on it and all this kind of stuff. However, like, because in my mind, I was like, okay, this book is going to be filled with like superhero analogs of characters that we know. But when you see the picture, it's kind of like, oh, well, maybe it's not going to be analogs. Maybe it'll be like illusions, almost in the same way how they do with like, you know, real world figures. Like, you know, I mean, there are some comic books that had like Barack Obama in it as president, but there are plenty of books that were like, okay, it's the, you know, 1/3 profile that we all know is Barack Obama, but they don't say it's Barack Obama. And you can do that with Superman or whatever characters you want in a book like this, and it might work. But on top of that, which I don't know if you all got to read like the oh man, what's it called? Not the forward. Huh? Say it again, Mo. Did you freeze? Damn it, Moses froze. Moses froze.
I think
whatever the back
Postscript.
It's not postscript, but you know what I'm talking about. The thing at the end where the author or sometimes the editor just to be like, hey, this book got made because this happened.
the editor's note.
No, it's like the opposite of a forward. I can't remember what it's called, but whatever. It's like
Backward?
I don't know, it's not called a backward. But the fact is that Kate says in the book, like near the end there, you know, some of the guest appearances that I can't believe we got. And I'm like, that totally could be, you know, just image characters. Because, you know, like even in the book in the beginning, they reference Savage Dragon. But maybe it could be some of these like big two characters.
And I guess one of my problems, which is not your guys' problems and you guys just talked about it, so it's not. I was paying attention. Okay, don't at me. The religious aspect of the antagonist, and I can't relate. It's not something that I really saw a lot of. Like that's the thing that I see those guys over there at Comic-Con all the time. But I heard you guys, I heard Mo talking like about his mom and all that. But to be honest, I grew up with my ultra religious grandma. Like I hardcore Catholic. We're in church every Sunday, and you're going to hell if you're not. And she never said anything about comic books to me. Like it was stories because it was fiction. It was a fantasy, and as long as I was willing to also read the Bible, and which she also actually kind of the way she described it is, look, it's not. I can't tell you that this happened for sure, but these stories have a lesson in them. And if the stories that you're reading also have a lesson about why you should be a good person, then go ahead and read them. So the seeing somebody use the hardcore religious people as the antagonist, and I get it. Those people do exist. I know that. I understand that. It's just every time I see that, it kind of feels a little bit lazy. You know, like just that first page where the guy like literally smashes her head with a beer bottle or whatever because she's wearing a mask. Like that, I don't know. It seems kind of lazy to me. It seems like the easy way out to me. Even though, look, I accept that these people exist. I accept that, yeah, this is completely plausible. It's just it always feels kind of lazy, and it feels like they're, I guess, just the easy way out, which is the same as saying lazy, and that kind of bugs me a little bit.
I hear you. Like it kind of feels like how, back in the day with Nazis, where it's like Nazi, everybody, all the bad guys were Nazis, and you're like,
right?
Okay, yeah, like,
I admit
Nazis
that
are terrible people.
Yeah, these people do exist, and yeah, this could happen, but it just feels like the easy way out.
That's fair.
You bring up masks, and in the story, there's like a whole anti-mask thing going on. But I could have sworn, and the art isn't that great at this part, but it looks like the cowboy comic that the cowboy has a mask on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Rawhide Kid, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, Rawhide Kid has a mask.
And so if they're so anti-mask, why is this cowboy allowed to have a mask?
Well, that comic actually was created to combat the superhero stigma back in the day. So that he has a mask, but
this world is anti-mask.
But I don't think it's anti-mask as much as anti-superhero.
Right.
But that's not the wording they
use.
I mean, but I guess, it's like there's a mask and then there's a mask. Like, for instance, it's like it's anti-mask, but it's not like, oh, anything that covers your face we're against. You know what I mean? Like if they had a neck gaiter, they wouldn't be like, oh, what are you wearing that mask for necessarily? It depends on how you're wearing the mask, I think. It's like
Trump supporters wearing like a surgical mask. They don't like it, but they wear a kind of mask. Nothing.
The Lipton's mask is almost the same as Rawhide Kid's mask.
No, I agree with you, but it's like there's a difference between Batman and Zorro. Despite the obvious connections, it's like Zorro is not the same guy as Batman, even though it's like technically even Batman doesn't have any superpowers, but he's a superhero as opposed to Zorro, which is more of a swashbuckler kind of, an adventurer type thing. You know what I mean? And don't get me wrong, it's a fine distinction. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jay. So say again.
That just bugged me while I was reading it.
I can understand that. But yeah, I will say that, for me, it's like while I understand some of the sentiments that both you and Oz are getting at, and I don't know that I can even necessarily say I disagree with what you're saying as much as the way the parts of it that made you dislike it are kind of the parts that made me like it. Where I'm just like, oh, like, I thought this was cool. And even like it's so funny because this book, like even the book, I've been seeing this crossover logo, and here's the book itself, which I don't know. Oh, there it is. This logo, I've been seeing this logo because this book has been kind of, it's been getting a lot of hype. And I've been seeing this logo, and, I was kind of like, okay, I hear the concept. And, again, they're playing things close to the vest. So all they're saying is like, we think it's going to be one of the greatest things that ever happened. And, you know, it's either going to be like, they literally are like, it's going to either like fail hard or it's going to succeed hard. And I look at that logo and I'm just like, that's weird to me. Like, why would you make a logo and what are these holes and stuff, you know, in this thing? And then when I read the book, I'm like, okay, the main character or one of the main characters' names her name is Ellipses. And I'm like, oh, it's an ellipsis. It's 3 dots. And I'm like,
Name, by the way.
huh?
Like, that's a great name. Like,
it is. It's a great name for a character. I'm not saying, like, I'm sure at least one person will read this book and decide to name their kid that. I don't know if that's a good look, but I get it. I understand. Like, when I read it, my initial thought was like, oh man, it'd be cool to name my daughter that. And I was like, no, it's a bad idea. But it's a great name for a character in a book. And the logo being like having that in it, incorporated into it, and you don't even realize that until you read the book, it's pretty amazing too. And I'm just like, okay, like this book actually might deliver on this concept. And I'm like, that's kind of amazing. So I'm in. I'm gonna get all of them. I bought this and I bought a white cover because you know I basically I bought the white cover just on the potential. Like literally, I was just like, you know, I might like it. They're putting themselves out there, and I know the dude can write, so maybe it might be as good as they say. And after reading the first issue, I personally am sold. I'm like, I liked it a lot. I think it's going to be as good as they say. Well, let me put it like this. I don't know if it will be like genre changing. I don't like there's some, I think they said, if I'm not mistaken, they're like, this is going to be this generation's Watchmen. I don't know if it'll be Watchmen level, but I think this is like, no, it's not. But I do think it's going to be a really good story, and it wouldn't surprise me if there are people that are influenced by it. So, yeah. So, what Moses? Why don't you go first and rate this book for us?
I'd give it a 5 out of 5.
Yeah, there it is. Just that simple.
Even like, I don't care if it doesn't have any superheroes. Like, I just want to see these character stories. Like, you know, you talk about the one doesn't give you enough. This one gave you 3 characters to follow and I root for based on the little information you got. And that's all I care about. I don't care about no fucking Superman or analogs and shit. I care.
Got you. Oz, what would you rate this book?
3. It's written okay. The art is fine. It's just not for me.
Fair. Jay.
I'm thinking 2.5. Like, I don't know. I just didn't get enough from it. Like, I'm kind of out, I think. Like, the one you feed, I know I rated that kind of low, but I still am going to get the second issue of it.
Mm-hmm.
And this one, I'm not sure. Like, I'll probably let it fall off to the wayside.
That's fair. I give it 4.5. I liked it a lot. Looking forward to issue 2. I think, yeah, it's something that I'm definitely adding to my pull list to make sure that I get all the rest of the issues, and I hope it lives up. It lives up to the expectations that the creator set for it. I think it actually kind of will. So, like, I don't say that about a lot of things. I don't feel, but yeah, I think it will. So, I'm looking forward to it. All right, gents, we kept it to a tight 3. let's get out of here and wrap it up for this week. Raymond, hey man, you're a champ for sitting in with us and giving us your opinion on Transformers: My Little Pony, friendship in disguise. You have any final thoughts that you'd like to leave the audience with, brother?
Just about in general or anything specifically?
No, in general, whatever you like. Look, this is your opportunity to plug something. This is your opportunity to talk about something you like real quick. This is your opportunity just, to say whatever you want. Nothing specific.
Well, I have no idea what to say.
That's fair. Look, you could just say goodbye.
I will say goodbye. Thanks for letting me be on the show. It was real fun. Nice to talk to everybody. Maybe
Amen.
I'll see if I do it again sometime.
You should. We would appreciate you. All right. We'll catch you next time, Ray. All right. Oscore, welcome back. Give us some final thoughts.
Hit like, hit subscribe. More videos coming, and you'll get to see what's in my package coming up.
Whoa. Don't threaten us with a terrible time.
I've had people ask me if we're sponsored by Loot Crate, so I've got to expand our unboxing videos, I guess.
I mean, or you can just review what you get, and that's it. That's okay. You listen. Don't mess around and spend extra money you're not trying to spend.
No, it's stack of art right here, waiting to be opened.
Oh, there you go. That's what I like. Jay, give us some final thoughts, buddy.
Currently, I'm watching Talentless Nana on I guess it's on Funimation too, but it's really good. It's turning out pretty good. You may or may not remember I talked about the manga years ago. It finally got an anime, and it's pretty good. Like, it's definitely worth watching.
Talentless Nana?
I think you talked about it during quarantine.
Did I?
I think so. It feels like years, but I think it was earlier this year.
It was March.
All I remember is Oz being confused.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't know if it was like someone's grandmother or
Vagina?
no, like if it was someone's grandmother or if that was her actual name.
Me confused could be any day of the week.
It's all 2020.
Well, okay.
I love it. Moses Magnum, final thoughts, buddy.
Look, you got a little taste of the Heavy Metal Minute. There's 20 minutes of that coming your way. If you just hit subscribe, like, and the bell, you're going to get more of that. I know there's like at least 7 of you that like it because that's all the likes we get and the views we get. So for you 7, I'm keeping doing it. And we might get merch, so you can have 7 shirts, 7 out of 7. Limited edition.
There it is.
Yeah.
I would like to know, quick question. I would like to know the difference between Moses Magnum, Heavy Metal Minute, and Fraction of Forever.
So Heavy Metal Minute, a shorter. I give you a snippet of what's happening in the heavy metal news thing, which is really weird because in 2020 it's really, there's a church burning, genocide happening in Azerbaijan that relates to heavy metal, and there's different. The Phoenix Act that was in Congress, like that Heavy Metal Minute topic this week. Not in this Fraction of Forever. Fraction of Forever is really the Heavy Metal Minute I can't do on the show. It's just too long.
Long form Heavy Metal Minute.
Yeah, it's so long that it's really you can only
its own show
as a Fraction of Forever. It's just that long.
So good. Where are those shirts?
And it's also the amount of time it takes me to put one out. A fraction. Yeah. So yeah, I did that for a reason. Heavy Metal Minute is a minute of heavy metal news, and it's never a minute because heavy metal is heavy metal. It's more than a minute.
Mm-hmm.
The Fraction of Forever is like a bunch of heavy metal minutes strung together. So yeah,
there it is.
That's it.
For the entire Fantastic Forum, thank you all so much for hanging out with us. We do appreciate you. Like Oz said, please like, subscribe, hit the bell notification so you'll get our videos so you can watch them if you happen not to be here live. Tell a friend too. You know what I'm saying? If you like what we're doing, tell somebody else about it. Just one person. It doesn't have to be a lot of people. But if you want to tell a lot of people, you should do that too. And if there's something additional that you want us to talk about, please tell us. Let us know what it is that you want to hear about. Like it's like Moses had said before. Like I watched a scary movie because the audience demanded it, and a short scary movie. I don't like watching scary stuff, but if you guys want to see me watching scary stuff, then I'll do it. If you want to see us review particular books, you want to see us review particular TV shows or movies, or talk about particular topics, you should let us know, and we will do that. All right. So this is Fantastic Forum, and yeah, thanks. We appreciate you. We'll see you next week.